Yo, hello. Hi. Okay. So let's roll today. It's freezing cold January in the UK. Wearing my jumper. Should be doing the Wim Hof, but I'm not. Should be. You should be bare chested in the cold. Freezing. Doing Wim Hof breathing. Heating myself up internally. But I'm not. I'm cold. So yeah, let's roll today. Let's do a part 2 with Shaun. Because part 1 was good, but we got cut off last time, about 10 days ago. So let's roll with a part 2. Hi, Mikhail, mate. Yeah, this is going to be good. So we got some good information last time. Let's get some more information from Shaun. And ask any questions if you're watching in the comments and stuff. And also talk a little bit myself, if I can, about enemas. They're very powerful. Something I'm coming to. It's very powerful medicine. I'm also making it daily. It's really important to do these things daily. So, yeah. Let's see if we can get them on. And we'll roll. Here we go. Hope everyone's well today. Wednesday. A weird midweek one. Midweek one. I normally do Sundays, but I'm done Wednesday today. Oh, yo! Hey, bro. How's it going?
Not bad. Not bad. How are you?
Looking good. Just come out of the bath, right, yo?
Yeah, man. Just finished work, had my dinner, and then just jumped in a shower, and then just have a chat with my friend Harry before I go. So.
Aye. We appreciate it, bro. We got cut off last time. That was a really good chat as well. It was going really well, I thought. And we had, a nice long one. It was like, I thought it was my end, actually. It was your end, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, my end, my battery cut out because I've been at work all day and I haven't charged my phone, so it was on limited battery. And it cut out. My charger is shocking as well. It doesn't charge up properly. Well, it charges, but it's really slow, so I couldn't keep up with the output, basically. Technology problems all the time, man. Technology problems.
It's so annoying. We whinge about it, but it's so amazing, bro. We've Facebook and social media and YouTube has changed our lives.
Yeah, man, it is. But definitely, yeah. It's a game changer, but you got to be a bit savvy with it, and I'm not that good with it, so I'm more of a hands-on person than a technical person.
Yeah, me too, bro. Me too. Okay, let's crack on to that a little bit. So let's get some health protocols. So we talked last time a little bit about you do your 1 meal a day. You do fruits, then you're also eating vegetables and just other stuff aside from the 100% fruitarian. I think you're doing cooked foods as well, which is fine. 1 meal a day. Was it again? You you do urine at night time before you go to bed a little bit. Is that correct?
I usually use it topically all the way through. I only urinate like twice a day. Usually once in the morning and then once in the evening. So it only comes out twice a day.
Bro, that's insane to me. So how come? What do you reckon you're doing? Do you reckon you're internally looping your own pee? Then is that what you reckon you're doing?
I reckon so. Yeah, but it's only recently where this has started happening. And obviously it's down to the fluid intake as well. Fluid intake has rapidly decreased. I used to like when in 2011 when I first started coming like out of addictions and into health. Thinking about exercising and things like that. Water throughout my journey, water's been so important. Water was the first thing that sparked my attention. I was like, oh, I'm not drinking enough water. I need to get 8 glasses a day. Because I were big on ecstasy back then. Going to the clubs, taking about 5 or 6 ecstasy pills, and waking up completely dehydrated. And water. You were always drinking water. Everyone else was drinking beer in the club. But when someone's on drugs because they're drinking water, or they're sucking on an ice pop or something like that. The club we used to go to used to sell ice pops behind the bar and things like that because they knew the score. So for me, that was one of the first things that I got into water, and I was drinking so much, and I was exercising and I started feeling a bit better. I obviously came off the drugs and stuff. But then I started having a little bit of a dip, you know, and my rosacea and the Raynaud's in my face and my hands and my feet was still swelling up. And I was thinking, what's wrong? Like, what's the problem? You know, I've stopped the drugs, you know, still drink a little bit, you know, still smoke a little bit, whatever. So obviously I was cutting back on everything and I was thinking, right, how do I solve this? You know, how do I, you know, undo what I've done? Because when I was younger, I never had this problem, you know, I never had my face with bright red. I never had swollen face, swollen hands, swollen feet, you know, tingling throughout my body constantly, like feeling uncomfortable in my own skin, you know, just a horrible feeling, like anxious all the time. You know, I never had these things when I was younger, but it came on after, you know, after the tipping point, I call it, when I was 14, basically. You know, that's what tipped everything. But yeah, so water, go back to that. I used to drink
Yep.
tons and tons of it. And then
Yes.
I looked into it and I found out that the government or whoever looks after the water supply were putting chemicals in the water, including fluoride, you know, including chlorine, you know, all these things. And I was like, what? I never knew this when I was younger. You know, I was like oblivious to everything. You know what I mean? I was just kind of like one of them kids who didn't have a care in the world. You know, always happy. You know, just full of life. And then all of a sudden, like things went downhill, and I started questioning, and the answers I got shocked me into where I am today. Basically, you know, it shocked me so hard that I was just like, what the hell? How can they be getting away with this? You know, does everyone know about this? Like, oh, I need to tell everyone. You know, and that was my second stage. You know, just telling everyone. Do you know that this is in the tap water? You're drinking this tap water. I've been drinking like 8 glasses a day. Like, what are you doing? Put that tap water down. It's poison. And everyone's looking at me like, what the hell? This is like in
Crazy.
2011, like before things, you know, are widely available on the internet. And people are looking
Mm.
like, what the hell is this guy on? You know, and back then I knew that people just didn't want to know. You know, I knew back then that I were a little bit special when it comes to like wanting to know, you know, wanting to do something, because most
Yep.
people don't want to know and they don't want to do anything. You know, they'd rather just
Mm.
wait until it's too late or just about too late and then maybe do something. You know, but most people, you know, they're just too backed up with their own lives to think about anything. So yeah, so
Yeah.
obviously I kicked the water out after that and kicked the tap water out, and I started going to, you know, Sheffield is not far from Buxton, and I started going to
Mm.
Buxton Spring. I bought two 50 litre jugs. I used to fill up the 50 litre jugs straight from the spring as it came out of the ground in Buxton.
Mm.
You know, it came out about 29 degrees Celsius, a little bit warm. You know,
Mm.
from the so-called volcanic magma underneath the earth or whatever. So yeah, we're using that, and that's what I did my first water fast on
Oh, okay.
Buxton water. Yeah, straight from the spring. You know,
Was that
my
the 40
first
day
one
one?
was like
Was the first
no,
one
no,
the
no,
10?
no. That 40-day one were well into my. We were like 2 years after this. Um,
Oh, okay.
I did my second biggest one I did in 2013, around October time. Yeah, around my birthday. I remember it was just before my birthday because I remember I was living on Aberdale Road, and my gran came and dropped me some shopping off because I weren't working, you know, and she was like looking after me and whatever. And she
Mm.
looked at me and she's like, "What's happened to you? You're so skinny. You're so thin." And I said, "Yeah, I've just done a 10-day water fast." And she was like, "What? What the hell's a 10-day water fast?" You know, and I was just like, I just lived on water for 10 days, and she was like so shocked. She was like, "Oh, you all right? Are you sure you're not, you know, crazy or whatever?" And
Mm.
what she didn't know is, for the past 6 months or 8 months before that, you know, I've been like addicted to health knowledge. You know, to not my brain was like a unsatiable appetite for knowledge. You know, I was just absorbing everything. You know, I was just like looking and thinking, so if they're doing this, what else are they getting away with? No, what else can they push past in plain sight and people just be oblivious to? And even if you tell them, they still deny it. You know, like what else are they getting away with? You know, like what's in my food? You know, and back then I was ordering only organic food. I this is what I mean. Right now, I'm going back to the start, you know, because I've come a long way from the
Yep.
start. But what I've
Yep.
realized is at the beginning, that's when
Mm.
I had it perfect, and then I started altering and changing, you know, as I went on. So I'm going right back to the beginning, you know, because I've
I
come
like
off my
that.
path a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
I'm
learning
going
it.
back to the start, man.
I think we all do though, bro. We all learn in circles, yeah? We all learn in circles. Like the things that I thought I knew, now I've forgotten. And I think we do on purpose to reinforce the knowledge in our brain to make it so certain because we are uncertain creatures with what we don't know. We experiment with the body. Then I'm doing the same, bro. I think we all do, right? We go back in circles very much.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
powerful.
man. And
Powerful.
it's the same thing with the urine therapy because after my just before my 40-day fast, this is when I moved from Sheffield to London, and I'd been obviously carrying on with the research, and I came across is it Sylvia, the woman with blonde hair,
Sylvia
and
Chandler. You're talking about Sylvia Chandler,
yeah,
the
yeah,
urine therapy lady, the one that's smoking.
that's right,
Yeah,
yeah,
I've heard
yeah,
of her. Yeah.
the
Hmm.
smoking one, yeah. And do you know what? That's
Mm.
the reason I didn't start doing it like straight away back then in
Is it
2013,
because of
just before
her?
my water
Interesting.
fast.
She's on. That's
because
interesting.
because she was a smoker. Because
Mm, yeah, yeah, she
her
is.
and another guy were doing a talk in a pub, and it was on YouTube, the video, and I was
Mhm.
watching it, and I was thinking, this is mad. They're talking about, you know, they talk about drinking their own piss, you know, and they're saying it's healthy or whatever, you know, and they're saying this and that, you know, and I watched a few different videos, and I keep coming back to this one, and I never really watched it to the end because it was quite long. And then one day I watched it right to the end, and then in the end, someone in the audience asked like, "Oh, if you're so bothered about health, then why do you smoke?" And then she was
Yeah,
like, you know, she couldn't answer. She was like, "Oh, we just smoke. Oh, we just go outside and." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "You've been preaching all this stuff about health, and you're there smoking." I was like, forget this. I was like, that completely put me off. You know, I was just like, right. And
mm,
then a couple of days later, I found Dr. Morse, and he started
okay.
talking about kidney
Mm,
filtration, and he started talking about, you know, the sewer system going into the urine, you know, and I was just like, this seems to make sense, you know, and and that was my path. But
yeah,
now, obviously, I've come full circle again, and I've questioned
mm,
the teachings that I've accepted from Morse, from Dr. Morse and Lauren Luckman. Lauren Luckman was one of the first guys I came across. Actually, he would have one of the reasons why I started water fasting in the
we can
first
go into
place.
that in a little bit. We talk about Lauren Lockman in a bit. Carry on, man. Carry on.
Yeah, man, yeah, definitely.
He's funny.
And yeah, he would have one of the reasons why I started water fasting. You know, one of his videos popped up after I'd been watching videos from mainly Muslims. I can't remember the guy's name, but it was kind of like
Mm,
an automated video. He wasn't in the video; it was kind of like an automated voice, and it was just pictures popping up saying, you know, this is how you do a liver detox. This is how you do a kidney detox. This is how you do a, you know. And I was like, right, this is what I need to do. I need to detox all my organs, you know. So I was going
mm,
through individually, like, how do I detox this organ? Right, what do I do to detox this organ? And then I came across fasting,
mm.
and they were saying fasting detoxes every organ, every cell in the body. And I was like,
Yeah.
whoa. So I don't have to go through each individual
Just one
detox
second, bro.
protocol. I can
Next,
just,
1 second. 1 second, bro. 1 second.
yeah.
Dad, I want you for an hour. I'm just busy doing something at the moment. I'm on the literally on this. Very rude. So just 1 second, yeah. 1 hour. 1 hour. 1 hour. Don't. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, bro. Carry on, mate. Carry on. Apologise for that. Apologise for that, guys.
Yeah,
Where
cool,
were
man.
you? Where were you?
Yeah,
Where were we at? Yeah.
so I was just saying, when I found fasting, that
Mm,
were like after I started looking into detox protocols, and I was like,
mm.
right, so I've got to go through all these detox protocols, like detox the liver, detox the lungs, detox the kidney, you
Yep.
know, all these. And then I found
Mm,
fasting, and what I heard about fasting was it's a full body cleanse, you know. You know, when you fast, your body cleanses the whole system. So we're like,
mm.
right, this is it. This is it. I found it. And as soon as I found it, within 2 days, I started fasting. You know, I fasted for
Sweet.
2 days, and then I fasted
On
for three
water,
days,
right?
and then I fasted for 5 days. You know,
First
just
on
just
water, right?
in between, like,
Started
you
on water.
know, like when I felt comfortable, I was just like,
Mm,
yeah, right, I'm just gonna try and fast now, and I did 5 days. You know, and
mm.
then after about, I think my longest was 7 days, and then after 7 days, I thought it's quite easy. You know, I'm not finding it difficult. A lot of people are saying it's really difficult, and I was like, not finding it that difficult, you know. So I did 10 days, and I thought 10
Mm,
days is going to be like a milestone for me, you know. If I get to 10 days, then that's going to be a
mm.
big thing, you know. And during in fact, during all these fasts, in the first time, I was doing tons and tons of enemas with the spring water. And I was also
Cool.
using some, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a supplement that I bought online, and it was basically directed at cleansing the colon. It was like a white powdery substance, like some kind of mineral or something like that, but it fizzed up when it hit water. So basically, what you do, you neck like 5 or 6 capsules and then neck loads of water, and then you go to bed. You wake up in the morning, and it kind of
Mm.
like it's like baking soda when it hits lemon, and it fizzes up and it cleans inside your colon and it flushes it out. Anyway, I was doing that, and I was doing tons of other supplements as well from David Wolf. I was well into. He were another one
Mm.
that
Mm.
led me in the direction that I've gone. With the
Mm.
herbs and things like that and the superfoods. He were basically my guru when it came to that. Because I was spending like 250 quid every month in his shop. Online. Just I were honestly thinking about setting up my own shop, selling his
Mm.
herbs in the shop. And
Mm.
didn't work out in the end. But yeah, so I was really into that. And
Mm.
what changed me from that basically was another guy on YouTube, and he was basically saying, a lot of these superfoods and herbs are
Mm.
basically just marketing scams. It was basically just, powdered up anything, and labeled off as some sort of magical cure. And
Mm.
I was thinking, well, yeah, in a way they are expensive, and they are kind of difficult to get hold of. They're coming from the other side of the world, and it's not really like. And then I started experimenting with fruits. I was still drinking a little bit at that time. So, and I think
Spring
it
water.
might have been
Spring water,
new.
right? Drinking spring water,
No,
right?
alcohol. No, I'm talking about
Alcohol.
alcohol.
Oh, alcohol. Oh
Yeah, I was
shit.
still
Okay.
drinking around. Before I moved to London, I was still drinking. This was like 2012 when I
Mm.
was taking David Wolf herbs. And I had a heavy night on the alcohol, and I had a massive headache. And I was just walking past the fruit shop on my way into Sheffield Town Centre. I lived quite close, maybe a 15-minute walk. And I just looked at fruit, and I just thought, right, that's what I need. And I
Mm.
had maybe, I think I would just like an apple
Did you
and
did you
some
did you know
pears.
about fruitarianism at that point? Did you know about fruitarianism when you tried
No,
that at
I
that
didn't.
point?
I didn't know about
No, you didn't.
fruitarian. But what I were realizing is all these superfoods and all these supplements that I'm taking are just
Mm.
fruits from all around the world, like powdered up berries, powdered up, different fruits. And I was like, just imagine if I could get the fresh ones. So this were going through my head, like I wonder what the fresh ones taste like. I wonder how powerful they are. And then
Mm.
I was feeling down from a hangover, and I walked past the fruit shop. I ate the fruit, and instantly I felt better. And I was like, right, there's something to this. And that's what sparked my interest into that. And I started looking into, people who eat fruit and things like that. And then after that,
Mm.
it was just a snowball, and one thing led to another, and
Mm.
I am where I am. So yeah,
Yep.
I don't know how that started. I can't remember where we started, but yeah, that's where it's
Mm.
led. That's where it's led. And
That's crazy,
that's
bro.
where I
By the
am.
way, a quick
So
question: when
what
you
I'm
were doing the
saying, yeah.
supplements, did you find benefit from them? Did you feel a difference in your mood,
Oh
your
yeah.
body?
Yeah,
They
massively,
worked. They worked. Yeah?
massively. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But at the time I was doing the supplements, I was still eating meat. I was still eating eggs. I was still
Oh.
eating shellfish and things like that because I was doing at the same time. Actually, it's all coming back to me. I was doing. I don't know if you know one guy, it's a famous guy on you, not YouTube, but like back then, it weren't really about YouTube. It was more just like advertisements. And I found this guy, Chinese guy, Mike Chang, and he had a program called Six Pack Shortcuts. And at the time, I was like, right, I need to get back into shape. I need to do something, and I need a bit of motivation. So I bought his program, this Six Pack Shortcut, and it gives you like a meal plan. And he was like, oh, you just make 6 meals a day. You put them in boxes. You make a little bit of chicken, a few
Mm.
potatoes, and a bit of vegetables. And then at that time, I started with that. I started with a program, and then with the superfoods at the same time. And what we're finding is I were leaning more towards the superfoods, and I were getting bored of this 6 meals a day chicken, potato, and vegetable. And I was starting to hear about fruitarianism and stuff like that. So then I contacted this guy, this Mike Chang. I was like, can you still do your program and still get the same results on a vegan diet? And he's like, oh, yeah, I've heard about this, blah, 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 blah. And actually, coming back to me again, what sparked my interest were because I used to take protein powders, whey protein. And I got an
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
email one day. Just out of the blue, about whey protein and the dangers of it, and how much of a, damaging it can be to the body and things like that. And it were basically saying stop taking whey protein and start taking hemp protein. And I was like, hemp protein, what the hell is that? You know, and then that were another little switch in my head where I was like, that's from an animal, that's from a plant. You know, all these things from an animal. I mean, you know, I keep hearing they're bad, they're bad, they're bad, they're bad. You know, and all these things from a plant, like the superfoods from fruits. You know, all these are plants. Nothing's coming from an animal. Or although they were one colostrum or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard of
Something like
colostrum, the
that.
one in the breast milk. Yeah, I think that's in the
Colostrum.
breast
That's
milk.
the one.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It
yeah.
comes from cow. Comes from cow or any milk producing
Any
animal
milk, right? Yeah,
that's just
mum's
had a
milk.
baby, and it's
Yeah.
superfood for the baby. Yeah. So it's the first milk that comes out of the pregnant cow after it's had birth, and it's supposed to give the baby the biggest. And anyway, I was close to buying this, but it was at the same time I got the email about the whey protein, so I never bothered with that, And so I switched to hemp protein, and I switched to a plant-based diet, and I switched to mostly fruits, but with the superfoods as well. And I was getting good results. I was building muscle. I was strong. At the same time actually. I don't know how. I don't know what. I can't remember what went through my head before I bought it, but I might have watched a video or something and clicked me onto it. But I was getting like cans of oxygen, like spray cans of oxygen. I can't remember the brand. It was like a white, like a deodorant can, like a white can with a green O2 on the bottle. And I was basically just breathing pure oxygen through my mouth. I was buying it online, like 7, 8 cans a time, in a box, and then I would just breathing. So I was doing my exercises. I was watching Mike Chang's videos in my living room, doing my exercises, and in between, because it's a high intensity workout, you have like you do your workout, and then you rest for like a couple of minutes. In between the when I was resting, I was tooting the oxygen out of the can. And then after the workout, I'd blend up the superfood smoothie, and then I'd knock that back. And I felt great. And the only thing that put me off with the money situation, because I was like, I'm spending so much money on this, and
Supplement. Yeah,
and
yeah. And
and all I
superfood.
need, and yeah, superfood and this oxygen and all these other things, and I bought weights, I bought my own weights, I had everything set up, so I'd spent like tons and tons of money, and I was feeling good. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, how can I make this better? How can I? I'm sure I'm getting middled here. Because before I came into this, I was, a bit of a, I was into sort of like buying and selling things.
Make money. Sure.
Growing things at the same time. So I knew about people middling you. Someone buying from someone, selling it you for a better price. And they're making a profit in between. But if you go to the source, then you get the best price. You always get the best price from the source. So I was thinking, right, how do I cut this middleman out? And then I was thinking, right, what are these superfoods? What are these herbs? Where did they come from? And I realized that they're mostly fruits. And this is another thing that switched in my head. I was like, so what happens if I just eat fruit then? Just local
Yeah.
fruit. Just stop taking all these
Oh,
powders and potions and just eat fresh fruit. And that's when I came across other YouTubers online, and they were doing it, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do, and that's what I did,
yeah,
and I felt good, and
yeah,
I kept yo-yoing backwards and forwards, moving location didn't help. When I was in Sheffield,
yeah.
everything were organic, everything were fresh,
Mm,
that was when I was at my best, before I moved to London, and when I moved to London, junk
mm,
food were everywhere. Vegan junk food were everywhere. It would just come in. It would just blowing up basically in London. Veganism, and all these new restaurants were opening. I was like, whoa, so much choice. So much. I can try this. I can try this. But it was all junk. It's just full preservatives and E
yeah.
numbers and flavoring. And so I'd gone
Soy,
from this yeah,
loads.
soy, everything. So I'd gone from this clean organic diet, eating wild herbs. At the same time, I'd started looking up wild herbs as well, and free food. So this was another thing that really interested me back then.
Mhm,
So what I want to do now is go right back to that. I want to go
mm,
right back to where I began. Right back to picking herbs from the wild.
Mm.
you know, getting the
Yeah.
superfoods, getting the herbs,
Yeah.
and exercising, feeling strong again. You know, felt like I've not
Mm.
felt strong for a long time because I've been fasting so much. You know, I feel like
Mm.
it's important to, because I'm so motivated to get rid of my ailments. You know, to get rid of these lumps in my body, to get rid of this achy feeling and lethargic feeling and things like that. I'm
Mm.
just like, I need to go full throttle. And I don't need, I can't take my foot off the pedal, because if I do, then I'm wasting time, and I could have done it sooner. But I think that was a wrong attitude to take, and I'm learning that now. That to go that deep so fast
Mm.
could be a good thing in some cases, but to go so long, I think
Mm.
for me, it's not so good because you lose the will to live, kind of thing. And I didn't even. I'm talking about myself here. I didn't even realize that it was happening to me. That
Mm.
I was in detox for so long, and
Mm.
I feel like now I'm out of detox after I've been
Mm.
eating cooked food, and I feel like, wow, I'm out of detox. And all before, the reason I was feeling so shit is because things are getting pulled out of my body so
Yeah.
slowly. It must be so slowly and
Mm.
painfully, little by little, and it's just a constant like
Never
ache, and
ending.
it's just a
Yeah.
constant pain. Yeah, and you just lose the will to live. You know, you have to constantly keep motivating yourself and keep saying, right, keep going. You're getting through this, but when you're
Mm.
not seeing results, then
It's
you start to
frustrating.
question. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
is it really worth it? I mean, I'm going through all this. Like, I feel like I was getting benefit, but now I've plateaued. I feel like I've plateaued, and I'm not getting any further. I'm just getting
Mm.
weaker. I'm just getting more, like down and out of, energy, whatever. So I feel like me taking my foot off the gas now and, reassessing, looking back, like, where did I go wrong? What did I do? What did I do differently in the first place? So me assessing that
Mm.
and looking back now on where I've came from, I can see a new path, a clear path for me, in the future, so this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm building this year. I'm going to build, I'm intermittent fasting still, and I think this is important as well because I feel like mentally, I need to be still detoxing. I need to be doing something that's progressing my health. Because if I'm not, then I'm going to get down again. But if I'm doing too much, then it's going to take the life out of me. So I need to
Yeah.
keep that balance. Where I'm fasting for like 20, 22 to 24 hours every day. I'm not drinking water. That's dry fasting. I'm not drinking water for like that. And then I'll have one meal, and then I'm doing the herbs, which are really helping as well. I'm
You're
making
doing
herbal
exercise as well,
drinks,
right? You're exercising during the day as well within that 1 minute.
exercising during the day, fasted exercising, and that's another
Yeah.
key I found. Yeah, fasted exercising
Yeah.
for the hormone
Love it.
boost. It boosts your hormones, gets your body to start producing the hormones naturally, and that's another thing that I wanted to talk about: the crucial role of hormones in the human body. Crucial,
Mm.
crucial, crucial role of hormones. The
Why?
correct
Why are they
balance of
crucial to you, mate?
hormones.
Why are they crucial to you?
Why
I
are they
mean, they are.
crucial? Because hormones are the deciding factor on just about every single thing that you can see and feel in your body. The deciding factor whether you turn male or female is hormones. The deciding factor whether the way you look, the way your face shapes, the way your body shapes, the way you build
Mm.
muscle, the way you know your voice, everything. Hormones is the deciding factor. We can see this. We can take synthetic hormones, and we can see crazy results. Like we'll swell up like a big bodybuilder. If we take steroids, that's a natural hormone that's produced in the human body. But it's produced in a balanced rate. So when we take them out of balance, then we get out of balance results. So
Mm.
and that leads to kickback in the future, sort of thing. So the key is to get
Mm.
the hormones, to get the endocrine system producing the hormones in balance. So like this is and plastics as well. Plastics and pesticides and fungicides all attack the endocrine system, all attack the
Yeah.
hormone producing system of the body. Everything's wrapped in plastic, everything's sprayed with pesticides. Is it any wonder that we've got an epidemic of people who don't know their own sex. They don't know whether they're male or female. You know, is it
True.
any wonder? Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Is it any wonder? To me, I'm just like, wow, this is getting out of control, you know, and
Yeah.
it's yeah. So
I agree, bro. Think about this
yeah,
as well. Semen retention. Semen retention also boosts your testosterone levels. You do that as well. Yours must be
I do.
so fucking high with the sunlight on your skin where you are right now with the semen retention. People say it's a
Yeah,
myth.
man.
It's fucking not. You can exercise longer. Your face becomes
No.
more masculine. You
Yeah.
can your muscle density, your bone density. The testosterone prevents Alzheimer's dementia. I read. It prevents
Yeah, man.
osteoporosis of the bones, increases muscle mass. It's a bloody miracle, mate. Just see one hormone, yeah, one tiny hormone. If you measure that hormone
Exactly.
though, these hormones, I read somewhere, it's like it's such a small amount that can affect the system. I mean, such a small amount of these hormones, mate. Like it's 1 in a million of size of blood or something. I read something ridiculous about hormones. That
Mm.
the tiniest
So
drop has
tiny.
such a huge impact on the human body. It's crazy, mate.
Mm.
It's fucking crazy.
Well, if you think about the glands that produce them, they're pretty small themselves, you know. So think about the pineal gland. It's like the size of a pine nut. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah,
producing
nuts.
some powerful shit like serotonin, dopamine. You know, these types of hormones. We even produce opioids. You know, I was listening to
Yeah.
Wim Hof yesterday, and he was saying
Mm.
about using his method is producing these opioids, which are powerful, powerful painkillers. You know, which
Mm.
allow him to go through these, states of freezing where he should be freezing, but his body is just completely zen because his hormones. Again, we're going back to that. The hormones that are produced within his body through the methods that he teaches are keeping his body in balance. So nothing can touch it from the outside. You know, everything from the inside is completely balanced. So it's just like
Yep.
this is it's exciting, to learn about this and to
Hey, you
realize
heard about the endocannabinoids as well? We make our own cannabis when we exercise with sunlight.
exactly.
Endocannabinoid system, mate. That's powerful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. We've got the receptors in our brains, and that always baffled me as well. I used to grow cannabis back in Sheffield, in my little flat, until I got busted. That's another little venture I did for money as well. Uh,
Mm.
but yeah, back then, I was like, this plant is a miracle. Like there's so many uses for it. There's so many. Why is it even illegal? Why did this plant become illegal? Because and then now another thing I looked into because of this and this and this happened. A few industries wanted to suppress it because they had a monopoly on other industries that it were competing with. And we're talking about pharmaceutical industries. We're talking about oil industries. All these industries that now or today are massive. Basically suppressed hemp and cannabis back then because they knew hemp and cannabis had the potential to wipe them out completely. Because it's got the potential to produce every plastic. Every medicine that we've got. Every clothing fiber. Building construction, all these things, can be produced by this one plant. It's an amazing thing, and it would have changed the way that we live, and it would have done far less damage to the earth than if it didn't get suppressed, But luckily now it's coming full circle again, and in a few countries we've got it. It's almost fully legalized. I'm not sure, in fact, if it is fully legalized in Canada or something like that, But
Mm.
yeah,
That's
so
interesting.
things are
We're
looking
still
up.
behind
Yeah,
here. You just made me think of something. You know, it's cannabis illegal. Another thing that's illegal. Have you tried hydrogen peroxide? Because I remember you talking about it. You were interested in hydrogen peroxide at one point. That's
yeah.
illegal in the UK. What's your experiences with? You
What?
tried it, by the way. You tried that?
It's
Yeah, it's illegal.
illegal.
Someone told me recently. No, no, not just UK. The whole of Europe. You can't sell it. You can't sell it. You can't get it
What?
online in Europe at any
What?
shops.
You
You have,
can't sell it.
and not only that, you can't import it from America to England. You can't even do that, bro. You can't even import it from another
What?
country to the Europe. It's completely banned by the EU. And in UK, you can't touch a 35% food grade, yeah. And because
Yeah,
the reason
yeah.
they say is because it's got a risk of explosion. That's their excuse. I mean, that's true,
It's got
but it's
what?
not the real
Oh
reason,
yeah,
is
yeah.
it?
Risk of it
It can
explosion.
explode. It's like rocket fuel. It's too high grade. It's too
Mm,
concentrated.
mm.
So you've got to be careful with it. But that's the excuse. But I think that yeah, it's. Well, you tried it, by
I
the way. Have you
mean,
tried that?
No,
You tried
no,
it,
I've
right?
not tried it yet. I've been looking into it for a while since you mentioned it, and before that, I'd kind of like it was in my subconscious already, you know. And then you mentioned it, I was like, yeah, that's another thing I need to try. Same with the ozone therapy, you know, that's another thing that I need to try, you know. And actually, one
Yes.
led to the other when I was researching about ozone therapy and hydrogen peroxide, you know, and also raw honey as well came into the picture, and rainwater as well came into the picture because
All at the
these are
same
natural
time. Crazy.
sources.
All these
Yeah,
powerful things at the same time.
all at the same time, and they all link together because all these natural honey and rainwater, for example, naturally um, have levels of hydrogen peroxide within it. You know, within
Yeah.
raw honey and within rainwater. And I was
I didn't
thinking,
know it.
right, hydrogen peroxide. I was like, don't sound good. You know, it sounds a bit like like it's been
Sounds
made in a
bad, doesn't it?
laboratory.
Didn't know about
I
it.
was like, where does
Yeah.
it come from? You know, I was thinking, how is it made? You know, same with the ozone therapy. You know, how is this ozone made? You know, is it made in nature? And it turns out it is. You know, it turns out it's made in nature. Ozone is made during lightning storms, during sunny weather. You know, when the sun hits the atmosphere, it produces ozone. You know, and
Yep.
especially during lightning storms, this is when it blows up like crazy. You know, ozone is produced massively during lightning storms, and
Mm.
and I always wondered why I loved being outside when it were in a lightning storm. You know, and maybe this is part of it as well. So
Yeah,
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 there are two
yeah.
things that I want to try. You know, there are two things that I feel like I need to give a go. You know,
Yep.
but again, on the other side, like you said, there is the dangers of the hydrogen peroxide. You know, if you do it wrong, you know, because
Yeah,
it's
if you
so
do too much as
concentrated.
well, or do yeah, you
Yeah,
concentrate, you'll get yourself in trouble. It'll burn you, bro.
that's
It'll
what I'm
burn you.
saying.
If you put
Yeah,
it top of your skin too
yeah,
much, you put it too highly concentrated, it literally burns and eats alive your skin. You can get to the bone if you've got to be really careful with how much you dilute it. You've got to dilute it properly, as you're fucked. So don't mess about with
yeah.
it.
That's
Like,
well, that's another thing that's kind of like put me off as well at the same time. You know, so I've just been like, if I see it when I'm out on my travels, you know, I'll get some. You know, and it's just been in the back of my mind, like, oh, if I've been looking here and there, you know, I've not found it yet. So, but I'm
can I tell
thinking
you a quick
about ordering
story?
some online.
Guy told me about hydroperoxide topically. He applied it to his face daily, and then at one point, a couple of weeks later, he started getting parasites or shit come out of his face, bro. He just put it on his face topically.
What?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Parasites coming out. I don't even get that with aged urine or topically, so I don't know what's going on there. I'm thinking it might
What
even
kind
be
of
more powerful than
parasites is
age.
coming out?
Some gooey black shit, like not just dead layers of skin. He said he reckoned it was a parasite of sorts coming out his face. I mean, I've heard in the colon, I can understand coming out the rear end, but
Mm,
the
mm.
facial, topically, that's insane to me. That the hydrogen peroxide can be so powerful as to pull out from the skin.
Actually,
Like,
that reminds me of another thing that I've been looking into for a while as well. And you know, Salve, whatever it's called,
heard of this?
Black Slav.
Yes. Mm.
Yeah,
Black
it's
slug. Black
basically
slug.
yeah. You put it on if you've got like a mole or something like that, and it pulls the whatever's behind it, pulls it out, and then it drops
Mm.
off. You know, and I was watching a few videos about it. You know, and there was one guy saying he got diagnosed with skin cancer on his back, and he put this on. You know, he covered it up, and basically it ate into his skin, and then a big chunk of his flesh dropped off, and then it
Mm.
filled itself back in, and the cancer was gone. You know,
Whoa.
and yeah, and there's pictures, and it's pretty creepy. But I was like, because I've got a lot of moles on my body and things like that. I've got a lot of freckles. You know, I've got typical Irish heritage. My sister's ginger hair. You know, and we're all pale skin. You know, even though I'm in the tropics, you know, my skin is still pale.
Mm.
Um, Now it's winter, so the sun is not very strong. But during the summer, my skin goes a lot more tanned.
Bro,
But
just a quick one. Have
before,
you heard of DM? I'm thinking of the powerful and skin. I was thinking DSMO is another good one I hear that really works powerfully. It pulls out like crazy. And MSM. I don't know what they stand for, DMSO and MSM.
MSM,
These,
yeah, methyl sulfate, something like that. I used to take MSM from David Wolf, and
oh,
but I tell you something about that. The taste is unbelievably like you just have to try it to believe it. You know, it's just disgusting.
like turpentine,
The
like really nasty paint thinner, kind of really horribly shit.
I've not tried turpentine, but I can imagine it's probably similar.
It's
Um,
nasty.
but
Yeah.
but basically, what put me off that I was taking loads of it. You know, it comes in like a crystallized powder. It looks like salt, but clumps together in the bag, and it turns like a rock if you leave it too long. Um, but what put me off that is again Dr. Morse talking about sulfur in, when we're looking in iridology and talking about how
Yeah.
much sulfur he sees in people's guts, from the pharmaceutical drugs, and that's another thing that I got hammered with when I was a baby, pharmaceutical drugs, because I had an infection in my belly button. I had to have an operation when I was first born, and they just pumped in antibiotics into my body, and this probably lasted for a fair while, and after that I've had tons and tons of antibiotics because I used to get ear infections. I used to get um, uh, pains underneath my tongue and things like that. And I used to take antibiotics all the time. So it rung true with me when he was saying about the sulfur in the gut, and you could see it in the eyes with the orange around the pupil and stuff like that. And then I was taking this sulfur supplement from David Wolf's online shop, and I was like, my God, what am I doing to myself? I'm trying to get my body clean, and then I'm taking sulfur, which is this is what apparently this is what sulfur does. So there was a guy, something Goodyear, the guy who makes Goodyear tires, basically, the car tires. Yeah, so rubber
Yeah.
comes out of the tree and it's liquid. It's like a sticky liquid form. The original rubber is sap from the tree. They collect that and then they harden it by putting sulfur in it. So they put the sulfur in it, it makes it hard rubber, and then you can make a tire. So what Dr. Morse is saying is basically our lymphatic system is a lipid sticky fluid, a little bit like rubber when it comes out of the tree, like sap. When we put sulfur in, it reacts with the lymph system and hardens it, turns it into a rock. So that's why inside my gut, this is what I was thinking anyway. I'm not sure if it's true, but it seems to ring true. Inside my gut is a lymph system that's hardened on the inside of my digestive pipe. Inside our digestive tract, it's just full of villi. All little hairy, fleshy things inside.
Yeah.
It's not smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just full of.
Yeah.
It's got a large surface area. So if you think about the lymph system in between these little villi hardening, and then it just becomes a smooth like a water slide. Everything's just sliding through, but nothing's getting absorbed. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's what's been happening in my body for such a long time. Because as a kid, I was always sickly skinny, like as a stick. I could eat and eat and eat and eat and eat, but I would never put on weight. And I was always like a little skinny stick. And everyone used to say, "Why are you so skinny?" All the time. And I think this is a big part of it. Malnourishment. It's not that I weren't eating enough. It's not that I weren't eating enough nutrition or whatever.
Couldn't absorb the food because
Yeah.
of unhealthy, because the body was
Just
unclean.
going
So
straight through me.
in.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, so that's why I got put off sulfur, because of that reason.
Did you find it worked
So
though,
I don't know.
MSM? It worked, right? Did it not? You didn't try it, did it? I reckon it works, mate. I reckon all of these things
Yeah,
work really powerful.
it works, but this is another thing. It works by suppressing, the same
Oh,
way
okay.
the sulfur drugs, pharmaceutical drugs work by they suppress the symptoms.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is what it seems to be. So that's why I've moved away from it.
Yeah, that's fair play, man. That's fair play.
Mm.
Yeah, bro. Okay, so protocol wise, I was thinking we talked about dry fasting a little bit. We've done urine therapy. You're doing urine therapy, and you think actually talk a little bit about the transition from when you went to Dr. Morse, because I remember 2 years ago you were very anti urine therapy last year, and then I have enormous respect for you because I've said this to you before, and I say it again, like you're one of the few people that's been so anti UT and so in the Morse crowd, but then decided I'm just going to go on a journey here. I'm open minded. I'm going to try it, and you switched from hardcore Morse guy to open-minded urine therapy, and still maybe likes Morse, but understands that the fruitarian 100% and his theory of kidney filtration being the most important thing and not drinking urine is wrong, isn't it? At the end of the day, you went from that. You've been there. You know what it's like to come out the other side, to be on his camp, and now to be the other side of like, well, urine therapy is powerful.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, what it were for me was I realised that I'd got lost in somebody else's teachings. I realised that what I was talking about and what I was telling myself, what I was convincing myself with, was not what I've experienced. So I was talking about things that I didn't really know about. We're talking about things that I thought I knew because it sounded so good, you know, and it resonated with me. So I thought, yeah, this is true, and it feels like it rings true, but I didn't know for sure, you know. And it wasn't until people like yourself, people like Monica Shutt, what's her name? Monica Shutt. Is that how you
Changa,
spell
Monica
it?
Shoot. Yeah, yeah,
Chang, yeah, yeah. You guys, you know, and a few others that I came across, and you were the anomalies. You guys were the anomalies. You know, you everyone else were like, yeah, it's because they've done this. You know, they did this before. You know, they went through Therian or they did fasting before. But especially Monica, you know, because I knew that before she was on such a terrible diet, and the only thing she changed was that she started drinking her own urine, you know, and then she started seeing these magical results. You know, if you look at her now, she's like she don't look her age, you know, what is she like
no.
50, 40 or something like
She's
that. She looks
45.
about
She's
20.
20. She looks 20. She's 45, I think. She's
She looks
45, nearly
20 years
50, I
old,
think.
you know. Like some
Yeah,
of the
she does.
pictures you could pass her for 16 years old, you know,
Yep.
and it's all down to the golden fluid, you know, that's produced within our body that comes out, you know, and it
Yep.
baffled me because logically I was thinking differently
It does make
to
sense.
what
It does
you know.
make sense what Dr. Morse talks about in a way. Logically, he does speak sense. He's wrong with his theory about urine being a waste product. But if you go with what he's saying, it does make sense with his theory. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
logically,
it does.
you can
It does.
justify and rationalize his theory being correct. Urine is a waste product
That's
and
right.
very bad for you.
That's right, because he also comes from a construction background, and I also come from a construction background, you know, and he talks about there's a kitchen and there's a bathroom, you know, and there's a waste system, and every system
Yep.
produces waste, you know, and that waste has to come out somewhere, you know, and it just you know it makes sense because he talks about it like just a normal bloke, you know, he's just a normal bloke. He was into construction, you know, and that's what resonated with me because that's where I've come from, you know, that's what I've grown up listening to, you know, these blokes on construction sites, you know, whatever. So it made sense, you know, and logically we were like, yeah, this is it. But then, like I said, there were anomalies. You guys, you know, and Monica. So and I couldn't answer why you guys were getting results, you know, and why you know, and I told myself um, that they're lying, you know. I told myself that they're just full of hot air, you know, it's just placebo, you know, they're just crazy, you know, or they just, I don't know what it is, you know. I'd tell myself all different types of things just to make it, just to squash it, you know, just to be like, right, that's it, you know, it don't make any sense. You know, why would it come
Yep.
out of my body if it has to be in my body? It just don't make sense. You know, so I was like, there was this war going on in my mind. You know, that came across with some of the conversations that you probably seen on Facebook,
Yeah, I've
you know,
seen
with
quite a
other
lot of
guys.
conversation you arguing, very arguing back and forth for a long time with people. I saw
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
but the thing is, back then I was kind of like open to it, but it was so. I think a lot of these guys are so used to defending themselves, you know, and I get like that as well. When you've been defending yourself for so long, even someone who's a little bit inquisitive, you snap at them, you know, and you just like straight away. And that's kind of like what I felt like I got from these guys, you know. I felt like they snapped at me, so then I was like I snapped back, you know what I mean? And I was like,
Yeah.
so then it went back and forward. But that were actually good for me as well because it released a lot of information from the other side, and it brought up a lot of questions on my side as well. You know, questions that I couldn't answer, questions that I couldn't answer without actually going through and doing it myself. You know, and this is what played on my mind. Am I going to carry on um, telling myself that these people are just whatever lying? You know, and this is when I started to change. You know, I was like, what have they got to lose? You know, who am I to them? You know, I'm just some random face on a computer that they're typing messages to. What does it matter if I try what they're doing or not? You know, they don't get anything. They don't gain from it. You know, they're not gonna, you know, it's not like I'm paying them money and they're gonna, you know, take something away from me. They're just saying, look, this is here. I'm getting this results from it. Why don't you try it? It's good. You know, so so what's to lose? You know, this is what I'm saying. Like they're not selling anything. you
Yeah.
know, the people who are promoting it are not selling anything.
Pea's very
And
expensive. What do you mean? Pea's very expensive products. It's
exactly,
very
that's
expensive to
what I
make.
mean.
Right?
And this is another reason why it's so squashed. You know what I mean? Like not only the fact that people think it's dirty and disgusting, you know, that puts a lot of people off, you know, but
Smelly.
the fact that it's free. It's free,
Yeah.
it's powerful,
Yep.
and everyone
Yep.
has got access to it anytime, wherever. You know, just
Anytime.
imagine that.
Any.
Just imagine a creator building a species that can produce its own medicine that needs nothing outside of itself. You know,
Mm.
if you were a creator and you were trying to produce a species, you know, and you produced many species before, and then you come to the pinnacle and you build a human species, you know, doesn't it make sense that you're going to build it as a perfect system that can heal itself, that can produce its own medicine within, you know, if it goes into an environment that may be harmful to itself. So just imagine, like, if we get a snake bite, if we get bit by a snake, what happens within our body is the venom runs through our blood. It goes through the kidneys, and the kidneys produce an antibody that comes out into the urine. And if we drink the urine after we've been bitten by a venomous creature, I'm not sure about a snake. I'm not going to tell people to go out and get bit by a snake and then try it. Maybe it will work. But again, I'm not speaking from experience there. I'm just speaking from what I've learned, you know, over the time.
Mm.
So maybe I shouldn't talk about this then because I've not really experienced it. But you know, these are a few things that I want to throw out there that I want people to look into. You know, like
Yep.
for example, a jellyfish sting. If you get stung by a jellyfish, you know,
Yep.
everybody knows that you pee on it. Everybody knows that. But then again, we don't make the connection that pee is good, you know, for whatever reason. You know, we're just like, no, it's a waste product. It goes out of the body for a reason and it stays out of the body. You know, so why if you get stung by a jellyfish or some other animal or a bee, for example, if you put urine on, then it goes away. You know,
Yep.
there's something to that, right? And
Yeah.
also we can look into the pharmaceutical companies that are collecting urine in Portaloos. And you can look this up on the internet. You can look it up yourself. The Porter John Company. Is it Porter John
That's
Company? Do you know
correct. It's an
about that?
American company, Port Johns. Yeah, you're correct. Yeah,
Porter
carry on.
John
Yeah.
Company. They're
Yep.
a Portaloo company, and they put a sponge in the urinal underneath the urinal, and when everybody pees in, it collects the proteins in from the urine. They take out that and they turn it into pharmaceutical drugs that are basically
Yep.
used to treat kidney diseases and other diseases. So, you know, but I'm not sure exactly which diseases, but you can look into that. I think
Just a quick
hormonal.
one. You reminded me of something as well. You know, heard of Dr. Baczynski? You've heard of Dr. Baczynski, the guy that cures cancer in the
Yeah,
70s and
the
80s and
baking
still
soda
now?
guy. The baking
Yeah.
soda
Well,
guy.
no, no. Is he making so good, Dr. Baczynski? I don't know.
Bicarbonate
I don't know if
soda.
he is.
Bicarbonate soda.
Oh, okay. Well, no, no, that's
Yeah.
someone else. I think that's someone else, bro. Dr. Baczynski's
No,
another one that's
Brzezinski
cured
with
cancer,
the
right?
tash. The guy with the
You've heard of
tash.
anti-neoplastins. You heard of anti-neoplastins? That's
No,
Dr.
I've not heard of
Baczynski's
it.
therapy. Now, this cures cancer.
Okay.
It's anti-neoplastins. Guess where he gets his anti-neoplastins from to cure the cancer? Yeah, that's right. He
Right.
gets them from his urine. He extracts them from people's urine. So your urine's full of anti-neoplastins that cure cancer. There we go. You cure cancer by one method. There's loads of reasons why urine cures cancer, by the way, but one of them is the anti-neoplastins. It's your perfect medicine. It's got everything,
Yeah, but this is the thing,
everything.
Harry. Yeah, this is the thing. You can look at that in two ways. You can look at that, and you know, if you look at Dr. Brzezinski online, you'll see pages and pages. This guy's a quack. This guy is a fraud. Is a fake. The blah 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 blah. It's an information war. You know, you can look at it either side. You can look at it for what it is. You can see some guy. You know, this is why I feel like intuition plays a big part in learning. You know, in anything in day to day life. Because if you're not intuitive, then you're going to get fooled. You know, you're going to get suckered and you're going to get pulled down any old path. You know, you've got to use your intuition to guide you. You know, and if it feels right, then go with it. If you don't feel right, then leave it. You know, so basically, what the pharmaceutical companies will do is track down natural practitioners, and if they're getting results, they'll discredit them by saying they're quacks. You know, by you know, throwing in random stories about, you know, whatever, you know, saying they've done this, they've done that.
Yep.
So and this is how they keep the public on side, you know, because there's so many natural cures out there now for
Yep.
just about everything. You know, if we were really open, if were really, you know, independent without influence from massive industries, pharmaceutical industries, food industries, you know, all these chemical industries. You know, if we weren't bombarded with advertisements and propaganda from these guys, we'd all be curing ourselves naturally. You know, there'd be no doubt in our minds. You know, this is what we've got to recognize. We are being bombarded. We are being absolutely, you know, it's been drilled into our heads worse than you could ever imagine in 1984. You know, George Orwell wrote that book, 1984. Worse than he could ever imagine, you know. But it's so
Wait.
subliminal at the same time that we can miss it if we're not looking at it. And this is why most of the population, we're missing it. You know, we can't see it.
Yep.
So we're getting bombarded, but we don't know why we're thinking these thoughts, why we're thinking these natural people are quacks. I don't need to trust them. Trust my doctor. You know, he's the one giving me pills. What kind of crazy? What kind of crazy
It's so sad, bro. But at
stuff
the
is
same
this?
time, me and you have got so much to be thankful. We got thankful for like, people like Shanga, who's been doing urine for 20 years. People that are pioneers have passed on the knowledge. So
Yeah,
the knowledge is out there now. The knowledge for all this stuff is out there, and that's only because of the humans that are doing the hard work now. Not even me and you. People that are we're absorbing knowledge of these people. People in the
yeah,
past that
man.
have stood up against the armies of indoctrination. We've got so much to be grateful and thankful for these people. They've changed the lives. They've changed my life, your life. We've now got people that are more woke than ever, although you could argue there's a lot of work to be done in that area. There's still like a lot of people that are indoctrinated. We got we're building up
Because there's
great
more
communities
people
here.
here now. There's more people on Earth.
Yep, yep. And that's a great thing, bro. I mean, people say it's a bad thing to have more people. I don't think it is. There's more woke people here on the earth now than there ever has been, and we're bonding together. We're building communities on Facebook in the real world, and fuck me, man, life is exciting. Like, you know, we all go through our tough times, but fucking hell, the potential of the human avatar to heal itself, to experience Kundalini, to experience joy and bliss within the body, the potential for you to, compared to someone that's unhealthy, the people don't get this. The difference between an unhealthy person and someone like me and you is so vast in how we feel inside our bodies and our minds on a day-to-day basis. If they knew, they would be motivated. But you can tell them how amazing you feel. You can show them, but still they might not even do it. They might not understand fully how amazing it feels to be in our avatars for some of us at this point in time with all the therapies that we're doing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like we can waste a lot of our own time trying to convince others of what we're doing that works, rather than focusing our attention on. And I'm guilty of this. You know, I'm guilty of doing this. You know,
Tell me
because I
about it.
want everyone to feel. I want everyone to feel the benefits. You know, I want everyone to get this knowledge. You know, and to realize what they've got inside themselves. You know, so I've been so passionate about getting it out there, and all along, you know, kind of forgetting about my own path a little bit. You know, like kind of not focusing on what I should be focusing on, you know, like focusing on other people and other people's opinions and other people's opinions of them opinions, you know, and you get lost in it a little bit. You get lost in all this opinionated rubbish sometimes, you know.
Yeah, you
Um,
do.
so this is why you have to wind it back, you know, and this is what I'm feeling now. I have to wind it all back and think about, where did I start? You know, where did I get into this? You know, and what did I feel when I first got into this that led me to where I am today? You know, that kept me on this path for so long. You know, like because you see all these guys now that have been vegan for a long time, and they're going back
Mm.
to eating meat, and they're going
Yeah,
back
talk
to
about that.
eating
Yeah, talk about that a bit, bro. Yeah, I'm interested in that one.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
especially a couple of guys that I follow, Bobby, from Bobby's perspective on YouTube,
Oh
and
yeah.
also what's his name, Vegetable Police,
Yeah.
and yeah. So these two guys I followed. You know, I think Vegetable Police mentioned me on
Oh,
his
and
channel
Sverige
one
as well.
time.
Sverige made a video on you as well. Sverige did a little clip of you as one of those unhealthy vegans. He did a little
Yeah,
little promo
I was in the
thing.
malnourishment free, malnourishment epidemic free or something.
Yeah. Not only that, he took the
On
piss. He did look weird. I mean, if you watch this, and you didn't know you. What the clip he showed of you was you doing eye drops. And it did look
Yeah,
like, if you don't know you, it does look a bit weird. So he actually really
yeah.
cleverly did that. I thought it's very clever.
Yeah, it's out of
Like,
context. You know, you take anything out of context and you put it into into your own context, then you can make anything. This is our news editors' work. You know, they twist the truth. You know, and that's what he's done. But it's cool. It's cool. And his mate as well. I'm not sure if you've seen the other one. His mate made a video calling me the piss king or something like that. You know,
oh,
his
send me a
name
link to
is
that, mate. Very sick.
Milk Jar's brother or something like that, and he's made a full video on me, like 20-minute long video, you know, going through all
Oh,
my videos on YouTube, you know, and I
yeah.
was just sat there and he kept saying, you know, he kept singing this song, I'm vegan, no meat, no cheese, and I was just like, you know, and he's smoking his cigarette and he's drinking it milk, you know, and he's talking about me drinking piss and he's talking about how mentally ill I am and things like this. And I'm thinking, I just couldn't help but laugh at him. You know, I was sat in my hotel room in Vietnam when I was watching it, and I was just
Mm.
laughing. I was just like, this guy's smoking a cigarette, drinking a jar
Healthy.
of milk, you know,
Yeah.
and he's telling me that I'm not healthy, and he's telling me that this is how you be healthy, you know, by drinking milk and smoking cigarettes and
Bro, it's like
eating
those
and
fat
eating.
nurses you see in the hospital. They're really fat nurses, and you're thinking she's a fat nurse. She's looking after other people, but she can't preach to me about health. She should not be in that profession. She should not. Doctors that are fat as well, obese, they should not be in that profession. It's an insult to the humanity. It's against your congruent personality. It's like I don't know. Just it's fucking weird. All this shit, man. It's weird to me. Like it's like me and you preaching health. We know nothing about it. It's like me and you talking about subjects we don't know about, but making it as if we're really confident. And people listen to us. That's not how life is supposed to be. Don't
Yeah,
listen
it's
to
not.
people.
And this is another thing actually you've just brought up there. I look at like world leaders, and I think these guys can't even look after their own body. How the hell are they supposed to look after an entire nation of people? You know, they're forcing these people to live like they feel like they should live. You know, and look at their results. You know, I've always said this: results over theory. You know, these people who are preaching whatever this and that, you should do this, you should that. Look at their results. You know, if that's the kind of results that you want, then follow them. Yeah, go for it. You know, but if it's not the kind of results that you want, then don't follow them. You know, think about another path. You know,
Yeah,
so I think everything's backwards. You know, we've got a whole system that's completely backwards. It's on its head. You know,
yeah.
everything that's right is wrong. You know, everything that's wrong is right. You know, everything's reversed. That's what I feel like. You know, the more you look into it, it just feels like everything's inverted. You know, so
Here's a question though. I know everything's reversed, and we're lucky enough to see the world correctly, and everyone else sees it in the wrong way. But if it wasn't like that, me and you wouldn't have the missions that we have. I love the mission, man. The mission makes me so proud. Makes people like that I know, like yourself, so proud to know you and to learn from you. The mission is what the mission of other people getting indoctrinated gives us the mission to help other people that are disease states that don't know to wake them up to all these truths. That's something deeply profound. It gives us deep spiritual, I don't know how to say, deep spiritual happiness, like for people to be so
mm.
asleep and to try and help them in some small way, right?
Yeah. But then again, you've got to go back to. I go back to this. I've wasted a lot of my time trying to convince people who don't want to change. You know,
Yeah,
and I feel like it's drained me a lot. It's drained a lot of my energy, what I could have put into my own self. You know, so I feel like that's something we need to be wary of. You know,
sure.
and we need to be conscious of where we put our energy. You know, like just because you see the world as it is or as we think it is, you know, we're not sure. There might be even more levels, you know, but we're just at this level. We can see the level below that we've come from, and we can see
Yeah.
it's completely wrong, you know. So we're
Do you know
preaching,
what we do know though,
well,
bro? Do you know what we actually do know, me and you? This is what me and you and everyone watching actually does know. The only thing I actually know is what works in health because of how I feel. That's the only thing I actually know. That just
that's it.
because I'm very sensitive, you're sensitive as well. We can feel vibrations. I can feel my consciousness shift. I can feel my thoughts change from years ago. I can feel myself becoming happier, healthier. And therefore I'm thinking, oh, okay, I connect the dots. So I'm doing more aged urine. I'm doing more fasting. I'm eating more good foods. I'm eating more fruits. Oh, there we go. That's the correlation. That's all I ever know. That's all I ever know, really. Just what's inside my body, how I feel in my body, and what works. Nothing else I know, mate.
That's it. Yeah, and that's what counts. It's about how you feel inside. You know, that's what counts. you know, because we can get stuck in mindsets as well, and we can get brainwashed quite easily. We can get led down the wrong path, you know, from intellectual arguments that sound great, you know, that lead us down the wrong path, and then we feel like crap, and we're like questioning again, what happened, what went wrong, you know, where did I go wrong? So it's important to listen to the body, listen to inside what that feels like, you know. And I know a lot of people get confused with this because they're listening to the body and they come across, you know, a little bit of detox symptom or whatever, and then they fall off, you know, because they're like, I don't feel good anymore. So
Yeah,
then they go back to what they were doing before they started changing their health, you know. So,
yeah,
but it never made sense to me to go back to where I knew that caused all my problems in the first place. So it never made sense to go back that way. You know, I'm always going to try something different. You know, so but this is another trick. The way that and I feel like the meat and dairy and egg industry are actually using propaganda agents, planting them within the health movement, such as
in
this
face.
guy
Wait, in
Street,
Facebook as well? Do you mean in Facebook, like arguing with us? Do you mean that
Facebook,
as well?
YouTube, all
Oh,
social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, you know, all these social media platforms are
hmm.
now littered with planted agents from meat, dairy, egg industries, pharmaceutical industries, you know, all these major industries that are taking a nosedive. You know, it makes sense, right? They've all got shareholders. They're like, look, our shares are plummeting. This is what's causing it. Veganism and the health movement and this natural
Yeah,
health. What can we do? Right, we need to get our own propaganda out there. You know, it's an old, age-old trick. You know, it's happened throughout time. The wars, the
yeah,
governments, you know, they've done it all along. You know, these industries are so rich, they're so powerful. You know, they've
mm.
got access to so many platforms that
No, you're
it
right.
makes sense
Yeah.
for them to put someone in there to change
Yeah.
the public opinion about what they're going against. So, for
Yeah.
example, we've got this guy, Sri Ridge. You know, I
Yeah.
watched a video a few weeks about this guy, Sri Ridge, you know,
Mm.
and apparently it does look like him, but I can't confirm. He was
Mm.
involved in a school stabbing. You know, he was involved in a, you know, one of these massacres, one of these school massacres in
Okay.
wherever
Oh.
he's from. What's the name? Ukraine, in Ukraine, and it's a news clip. It's
Mm.
on YouTube. You can look at this yourself, and it's a
Mm.
news clip of one guy, jet black hair, long hair. It looks like Sphyrage in the face, but
Mm.
he's not called. You know, and apparently he's gone into school and he's stabbed four students, and then obviously he's had, you know, this is what the video is implying. He's had an identity change, and now he's
Mm.
being remodeled as this guy on YouTube, Sphyrage. You know, and
Mm.
and and you can see the news clip as well. Look it up.
Mm.
I can't remember the name of the video,
Yeah.
but if you type in Sphyrage or school stabbing or
Mm.
you know Ukraine school stabbing or something like that, and you can see it for yourself. But the guy who was accused of it
Mm.
looks exactly like him, you know, and
That's weird.
but
So
yeah,
what you're
I
saying,
mean,
that what you're saying in that theory, what that theory is like he stabbed someone. He wants to get to become normal again because he's well, instead of going to prison, they've given him the
now what I'm
scroll as an
saying,
agent.
no,
Mm.
no, no, yeah, maybe he's made a deal. Maybe he's made a deal, you know, and he's been, you know, and he's been took under someone's wing, and they said, right, I need you to repay me that favor now. I need you to be this person. I need you to be this information agent to put this information out there. You know, I need you to be this figurehead. You know, so because I've looked a lot into crisis actors as well. Crisis actors, you know, in natural disasters and these major, you know, terrorist attacks and things like that. You know, this is another thing that I came out on Facebook and started saying a long time ago now, you know, and I got a lot of abuse for this as well. You know, the Paris
Mm.
shootings and things like that. I
Yeah.
straight away I knew it was all fake, you know, and I still do to this day. You know, I say it's all fake. You know, it's a stage. The whole thing is a
Yeah.
stage, you know, and crisis actors are the main components within this stage. You know, they sell their souls and they sell their identities. You know, or they've
Just for money,
come,
bro. For money. They're people
yeah,
do it for
not
money,
not
really.
just for money, but but because maybe they've been blackmailed as well. Maybe they've done something and they've been caught and they've been blackmailed, you know, and they've been scooped up into this new agencies, these crisis actors or these you know, propaganda agents, you know, and now they're under the thumb, you know, they can't get away, sort of thing. And I think some of them, you know, are willing to do it, and some of them are being forced to do it. But whatever the reason, you know, there's no denying, because you can see the pictures, you know, there's the same girls, there's the same guys on multiple terrorist attacks in, you know, in different countries around the world, you know, and they've got the same stupid face, stupid look on their face, you know, just a different dress, just a different clothes, different hairstyle, but it's the same face, you know. So so yeah, that's another thing as well, that we need to be wary of. You know, we need to understand that this is a possibility, you know, and it's not just um, random people out there just putting information out there just because they feel like that's what rings true to them. There's people
Yeah,
paid, you know,
paid to do
very
it.
well paid to put
Mm.
propaganda out there on these networks, you know, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all these social media platforms. You know, they're powerful tools now. You know, these are more
Yeah.
powerful than the news now. You know, than the newspapers. You know, it used to be the news and the newspapers that were full of propaganda. You know, that led people to think what they want them to think. But now
Mm.
the modern age is about social media. The modern age is about putting the information out on social media. And if you've got access to a big enough platform and a big enough audience, you can drastically alter the way our reality looks in the future. You know, if you've got a huge
Do you know
following,
what I look at as well though? I think they can indoctrinate the weak-minded, but I think people like me and you and the people watching have never been weak-minded. We've always been open-minded, intelligent, free-thinking people. So if it doesn't resonate, it never resonated with me. Any of the bullshit that they said never did. When I got broken in depression and stuff, I was willing to do anything, and I didn't believe because no, the media was telling me shit. Like no one was helping me, doctors weren't helping me, no one was helping me. So I just feel like it never resonated, man. You can only brainwash people that look up to other people and don't cultivate their own journeys of heroes and don't become warriors. If you're a warrior and you're on your own path and like you're figuring out shit for yourself, you can't be brainwashed. You're less susceptible to being brainwashed. It's only the people that are kind of semi-content with their life that can really be brainwashed so easily. They kind of like they got the wife, the kids, the picket fence, they got a little debt, they're struggling in the slave jobs, and then they believe everything they're told because why should they not believe everything they've been told by other people? They've always trusted authority figures. They have no reason not to believe authority in the media. If you've got no reason not to believe that shit, you will believe that
yeah,
shit. But when I got broken,
that's
probably
the
with
key.
you as well, we all got broken.
That's the key.
I had a reason not to believe the media. I had a reason not to
Exactly.
believe my parents. I had a reason not to believe in nobody except myself. And I had to figure out shit for myself from the scratch. I had to start like a newborn baby. I was reborn. The moment I got broken, I literally reborn myself. And I'm still evolving now, mate. I'm not even done. It's exciting though.
Yeah, that is the key. That's the key, man. And you have to. I've said it before. You have to hit the bottom. You don't have to, but for many, you know, it needs to happen. You have to hit the bottom before you can start to rebuild. You know, in a different path, kind of thing. And like you
Yeah.
say, you have to realize why why you've been fooled, or you have to realize this before you can start questioning. Because if everything's going smoothly and you've got no problems in your life, the last
Mm.
thing you're going to do is start questioning, why is this happening? Why is this happening? You know, it's only when you
Right?
get down and depressed and things aren't going well, and and you don't feel good, that's when you start asking questions. That's when you start looking to God. You start looking, you're like, why have you done this to me? You know, like you're looking for answers. You're like, what have I done? You know, why did I go wrong? You know, and this is the beginning of the awakening. You know, and a lot of
Yeah.
people, uh,
Yeah.
this is another thing we need to be conscious about. Even when a lot of people hit the bottom, and then they come back and they start awakening by asking questions, they get scooped up by other propaganda industries, such as religion, such as different like clubs, and
Yeah.
can't think of anything that, just like
Yeah.
they've
No,
got
it's
they've got
like,
traps
do
on
you know, I
every
look at it as
level.
well. It's easier to have someone tell you how to live your life That's why we trust in authority figures, because life is fucking hard for every single human being on this planet. It's so hard. We live in duality. For every high we have, we're going to experience a low. This is the nature of us 24/7, dual universe. Life is tough. Life is going to be shit, especially in the Matrix. So people need that pressure off themselves, and they need an authority figure to look up to that's going to take the pressure off themselves and say, this is how you think, this is what you do, this is what you eat, this is what you watch, and this is going to make you happy. And people want to be told that shit. And when they get told that shit and they do it, some of them get some kind of artificial happiness. Some of us don't, like us. I never got art. I could never be happy now doing what the Matrix tells me, eating garbage food, having garbage thought, hanging around with normal people. I hate to say this, but if I hang around with normal people too long, it fucking depresses the fuck out of me, because you become who you hang around with. I'm not a normal person. I've got a mission, and it fucking depresses me, that shit, man. You literally become who the people. That's why I hang around with all you people. That's why I talk to you. I meet up with people. We want to build strong communities. We've got to lift each other up with the right people and stay away from the people that and only let them when they're ready. You give them seeds. You can help them. But I don't like the idea of spending a lot of time around normal people, because you're just going to go back to their mentality of the Matrix, and that's not what I want. I don't want to be asleep again. I've already gone through that phase, and it's not fun, right?
Yeah, I agree, man. And that's what I was talking about just then, about people getting scooped up into religion, because a religion, once you've hit the bottom, it seems like the perfect answer. It seems like this book is going to tell you how to live. It's going to tell you how to eat. You've got people to look after. You've got a sense of community around you. You've got all these things that you didn't have before you hit the bottom, and then you look for answers and you found God. Or you thought you found God, but actually you found a religion that claims to be from God. What you found is another trap, and that's unfortunate, but it shows that there's traps on every level. No matter which avenue you go down, there's always a trap. And it wasn't until recently, until I've realized that in this health movement, there's a trap as well. There's traps along this health movement. There's people that I call gatekeepers, in this movement, that are there to take you so far, to feed you enough information just so you start to feel a little bit better, but then block you from going any further by saying, this is as far as you go, or not saying it in them words, but saying beyond this is not necessary. Beyond this, it's not good for you, or beyond this.
By the way, do you think Lauren Lockman? We'll come back to Lauren Lockman. Do you think Lauren Lockman of the Spring of Water, who bashes urine therapy and distilled water, and he always does it? He can't let it go. He always has to comment and argue with people. Do you think he's a gatekeeper? By the way.
Yep, exactly. That's where I was heading just then. And I hate to say it, because I've followed him for so long. Say that again.
No, carry on, man. You saying I was just moving.
Yeah, because I followed him for so long, and I learned so much from him, and this is why you get attached. You get attached to his story. You get attached to the people's story, the gatekeepers' story. They entice you in, like Pied Piper playing the pipe. He plays the pipe, but then he leads you into the cave and he locks you in there, and you can't get out. I feel like the nursery rhymes tell us the truth as well. The Pied Piper, the nursery rhyme. So I feel like they play the pipe, and it sounds so soothing, and it sounds right, and you follow it along, and you get good results, and you feel good, and then bam, you're in a trap. You can't go any further, because you're in this community now. Everyone around you is saying the same thing. You step out of line, you say, "Oh, I think he's wrong about this." They're like, "No, don't be stupid." The same thing with religion. If you start speaking up and saying, "Oh, I think he's talking about this and not this," then you get shot down, and you get extradited or whatever, So I feel like these gatekeepers are on every level, and I feel like Lauren Lockman took me to fasting, and he took me to natural hygiene. Natural hygiene again is a trap. It took me away from the herbs. This is what made me abandon herbs altogether, because I was like, natural hygiene, it sounds perfect. It sounds like we don't need to look after ourselves. We don't need to maintain our body. We don't need to do anything, because it's self-maintaining, and it sounds beautiful, you know, and it sounds like this is true, but I found that it's not true. Because if you look at a lot of these guys who are on natural hygiene, you know, it takes you so far. Your health will be better than the average, but you're
Yeah.
not looking after yourself. You're not maintaining your body. You know, you're just expecting everything to come from your diet and from fasting. You know, and it's not going to do that. You know, so um, and then again, obviously with the spring water as well. You know, and with the urine. You know, how can like literally how can someone be so against something that they're not attached to? You know, you have to be attached to something like really attached to something to come out and be so against it, you know, to basically chase me down the street. That's what it felt like. Chase me down the street, whacking me on the head with a spring water bottle, you know, like, no, you must
Yeah.
drink spring water. You must
Leave
drink
me
spring
alone,
water.
Mothman.
I'm like, what the hell is happening here? You know, all of a sudden I just posted one thing, and then next thing just felt like a volcano exploded, and you know, and yeah,
You know,
so
with the gatekeeper thing, I think it's not just you. He does it with everybody. He's done it with me. He comes on post. He just doesn't stop. He's like an annoying little territor that doesn't stop arguing with people. He's either a narcissist or a gatekeeper, or maybe he's both. I think he's been damaged as a kid. I've heard bad stories about him. I've heard stories about him hiring pretty girls to go to his fasting retreat because he's into pretty girls. That's okay, but he pays for them and he's fucking slimy. I don't fucking like him. I don't like his personality. I don't know what's going on there, bro. He might be really damaged. He might not be a gatekeeper, but the way I see it, he is. They're just so persistent. Like,
yeah, because this is a big one for me. You know, it really opened my eyes to what else is out there. You know, because you get so trusting within this health movement. You know, because everyone's so loving and everyone's like, oh yeah, we just want to help. You know, we just care about you and this and that. So you don't look at anyone with suspicious eyes. You know, I'd come from like conspiracy theories. I'd come from like watching Alex Jones and you know looking at everyone with a suspicious eye and be like, right, what they up to? You know, and that kind of kept me on my toes. You know, that kind of like prevented me from falling into traps. But once you get seducted, you know, you get seduced by another type of personality. You know, that maybe I've grown up with tough personalities all through my life. You know, like people don't show no love. You know, people don't show love. You know, they just want to, you know, block you out or whatever. People don't show their feelings. People don't show their emotions. So then to go full circle and come to this community where all people do is show love, all people do is show their emotions, you know, and take you under their wing and say they want to care about you. You know, you get it's seductive. You know, they seduce you into following them, and you don't question them. You know, until things start to go wrong, or until you come across new information like I did. You know, and I tested it out, and I gathered that information through my experience, and this is why it's so powerful, and this is why you know it hurt one of these gatekeepers so badly because there's nothing you can say when it comes to experience. You know, you can read all the theories you want, but if you've not experienced it for yourself, you can never know it. You can never know it, and that's the key. You know, and that's another thing that surprised me about Lauren Lockman. You know, he used to tell me about what happens on a longer fast. You know, on a 40-day fast, and then I was expecting him to say, yeah, I've done many 40-day fasts, you know, I've done 60-day fasts, whatever. And it turns out the longest he's gone is like 30 days, you know, maybe 20 or 30 days. And I'm like,
yeah,
all right, so you've been describing to me how I'm going to feel after 40 days and what I should do after 40 days. But the longest you've ever gone is 20 something days. Fair enough, you've seen many other people go longer, but you've never actually felt it for yourself. So how can you know what the body is going through? You can't know.
yeah,
You can only assume or you can only judge by other people's experience. You can't know. You're secondhand knowledge, mate. You know, what you're
yeah.
saying is secondhand knowledge. You know, fair enough, you've seen it on other people, but you've not felt it. And that's the key. You've not felt it for yourself. So you
Yeah.
don't
You know
know.
what? He hasn't tried. I would love him to try distilled water, a distilled water fast. He's got the discipline for it. He's Lauren Lockman. He makes money out of fasting. So he's got discipline to do it. I love seeing him do distilled water. I love him to see urine therapy. But he will never do those two things because he's not a humble man. He's a fucking gatekeeper. He's got a huge ego. He's a narcissist. Whatever's going on with him, he won't
Harry,
get the experience to prove himself wrong. He
Harry,
won't do that. He won't do it. He won't prove himself wrong, bro. He'll never prove himself wrong. And you know the people I
I
have the
said
most
to him,
respect for? For people like
listen,
me and
listen,
you that we're willing to prove ourselves wrong, bro. These are the people I respect the most. The people I respect the least are people that are stuck in dogma, because dogma keeps people behind, keeps people unhealthy, keeps people brainwashed. People that are open-minded, we've got to break the dogma. That's how we become who we are. We've got to be open-minded and break the dogma. Yeah.
I said to him, I had a conversation with Lauren Lockman. I said to him, look, Lauren, because I'd wanted to go to his fasting retreat for a while. You know, throughout my 40-day fast, I was talking to him online. You know, I
Mm.
asked for his advice when I got to about 30 days in, and I could taste the salt in the water. You know, and he
Yeah.
told me to stop the fast immediately. He said, stop immediately. You're gonna harm yourself. You know,
Yeah.
you can't do this unsupervised on your own. You know, and then I said, well, I really want to continue. And he said, well, the only way you can continue is if you pay me to coach you until the end. You know, and that's when I was thinking, what? You're telling me to
All
stop
right.
because it's dangerous, but it'll be safe if I pay you to coach me to the end. You know, so straight away
Wow.
alarm bells are going off. You know, but
Yeah.
anyway, during that time I was weak. You know, I was fasting, whatever. So I didn't really put two and two together. But
Mm.
anyway, later, and we were talking about distilled water and whatever, you know, and I said to him, look, Lauren, I want to come to your retreat, but I don't want to drink the spring water that you're offering. Can I collect rainwater and use
Mm.
that instead? And he said, no. He said, no, you can't do that. You can
Wow.
only use spring water. Yeah, I said, look, I'll pay whatever fees, you know.
The
Just want to,
ridiculous amount of money, the 3,000 or whatever
yeah,
it is, very expensive,
yeah,
by the way.
I'll pay like 5 grand or whatever it is just to come and sit in your retreat and collect rainwater. And he said,
Mm.
no, no, I'm not going to allow you to do that, you know, because rainwater is dangerous. You know, he said it's full of pollutants, you know, and it's not safe. But what? And I was like, but Lauren, rainwater comes from the sky and it lands in your stream and then it flows down your stream and then you collect it and all of a sudden it's safe. Let's think about that for a minute. Yeah. The water in your stream is rainwater plus rocks that have been collected when it's run down a stream. Now, because
Yeah.
it's collected rocks, it's safe. But when it fell from the sky, it's dangerous. Right? So let's think about
Mm.
that for a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's
it's not.
profound what you just said there. It comes down, it comes and gets into the rivers and the oceans, all the rainwater, the dangerous rainwater. And there's people that say chemtrails are bad, but there's a level beyond that stupidity. There's people like Lauren Lockman that say that even without chemtrails, rainwater is bad for you. There's levels of the stupidity, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Mm.
And you know, it's even more ridiculous when you look into ozone therapy as well, and you realise that
Yeah.
ozone O3
Mm.
detoxifies the air. You know, so any pollutants that are in the air during a rainstorm, especially a thunderstorm or a lightning storm, the rain is going to be pure because that extra oxygen molecule is going to be
Yeah.
released and attach to anything that's not pure. And the rain's and basically after 20 minutes, the rain is pure anyway. You know, after the rain's been falling for like 20, 30 minutes, heavy, the rain is going to be pure anyway because all the pollutants are going to be washed out the sky and on the floor. You
Quick
know,
one,
so
it's
whatever
very
you collect
provable.
after,
Very provable, isn't it, with the TDS meter? You get a TDS meter and it's a 0 ppm after 10, 15, 20 minutes of,
exactly.
non-stop rain. So that's pretty much pure water. And you can drink it, feel amazing. So yeah, carry on, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. So it makes no sense to be afraid of chemtrails and drink
Yeah.
water from a river or drink water from a stream and imagine that because it's from a river and a stream, it's got no chemtrails. It fell from the sky, you know,
Yeah.
or it came up through a spring, you know, and think about groundwater is one of the most polluted waters on earth right now. You know, if we have animal agriculture, you know,
Yeah.
industrial farming, all these chemicals are getting sprayed. You know, all these um, extra hormones are getting injected into cows, injected into animals. Their excrement is running. You know, it's running off into the streams. You know, pesticide sprays running off into the streams, and then we're
Yeah.
collecting this and drinking it, but we're afraid of the rain. It don't make
Yeah.
any sense. You know, it falls from the sky. You know, we look up at the sky and we see. You know, we talk about God being in the sky. You know, he's delivering this water for us fresh. You know, if we believe in God, if we believe there's a God up there, you know, then you know things that come from the sky should be, you know, heavenly, right? You know,
Bro,
this is what makes
nature's
sense.
amazing, bro. Like, think about this: rainwater. We've got distilled waters from our own, kidneys, our urine therapy. We've got fasting. Eat nothing, costs nothing. That can save your life. You've got sun. You just get sunlight on your bare skin, even through the clouds. It's very special. Sun gazing, if you're lucky enough to get cloudless days, amazing therapy. Grounding the earth, touching your feet to the earth, very powerful. All these things cost nothing. Oh, by the way, fruits, they don't cost much compared to the crap that most people eat. Plus, people are eating too much food as well and constantly snacking on rubbish foods. So all these things that are the most powerful are also the most free. And it's nature that does it
Yeah.
for us because nature knew, God, or whatever you want to call it, creator had a backup plan for when society got fucked, I think. I think society's got fucked now. So God created urine therapy for us so that we could wake up. God created all these things just in case we got bad. It's almost like create anew, things were going to get bad. So he created these things in place. And now he put us in position, some of us, so we can discover ourselves, wake up and help other people and start this what's going on, conscious alignment. I think slowly but surely we're growing in numbers again and we're taking back the Gaia or the earth, whatever you want to call it. And I think it's part of the creator's plan of fun, you know, he's having because it's got too dark, bro. That's how I see it. Like you saw it, like you said, it's got way too dark. Not amongst us because we live in a bubble. I live in a bubble right now. I just communicate with my Facebook friends. I go and meet my family, my soul family. But the fact is, we live in a bubble, bro. Because the most people out there if we hang around with them, they're brainwashed and dumb. But yeah, it's just so sad that we're in this position. But at the same time, I don't know. It's the mission, isn't it? I can't dwell too much on the sadness of
Yeah.
it all. I'm kind of blessed to be here right now. So
And I
yeah,
want to touch on that one as well. I want to touch on that one because I feel like money, like when money comes into this health sort of thing, I feel like this is uh, it warps people's minds. You know, it changes people. So you might find someone who comes into it warm-hearted and wants to help people, but then when they start earning a few quid,
yeah,
and then maybe they're short 1 month and they need more money, you know, and they're likely to tell you something that you want to hear rather than what needs to be heard, or you know, they'll not say I don't know if they don't know. They'll just make some shit up. Do you know what I mean? It's like it
yeah,
seems to. I've seen it a few times. Like um, people people tend to what's the word? Tend to hold on to their pride or whatever. You know, it feels like right. I'm getting paid for this now, so I need to
yeah.
have the answers. You know, I can't just say, "Oh, sorry, mate, I don't know." You know, or you bet. You know, just you can't just hold your hands up and say, you know, because you're losing customer then, aren't you? So it becomes
Yeah,
about the money rather than about actually helping people. So
I
this is
agree,
what
bro.
this is what I want to address. I want to address this because I see it happening as well. You know, I see people talking shit,
Mm,
you know, and I
mm.
think, oh my God, please, you cringy, you know, like, and it's so
Give an
clear that
example. Give
they're
an
just.
example. Give me an example. Tell me out. Give me an example. I believe what
I
you're
don't
saying.
want
I know
to.
it's
I don't
true.
want to say. I don't want to say
Okay.
names because I
Okay.
feel like I feel like they're not doing it on purpose. I can see through it. You know, I'm good at be able to. I'm good at judging things like that. You know, I'm a Libra. I'm a good judge. You know, and that's what I
Mm,
do. It gets me into trouble sometimes for judging like that, but you know, it's what gets me through life. You know, I'm able to judge a character quite quickly. You know,
yeah.
so so yeah, I watch people and I've seen a lot of people how they've changed and things like that, and yeah,
Mm,
it's not nice to see, and I feel like you were just saying there, all the best
mm,
therapies are free. You know what I mean? All the best therapies are free. So
yeah.
when we're pulling money out of people, sick people who are just looking for help, and we're pulling money
Yeah.
away from them, I feel like it's not ethical, man. It's just not right. You know, and this is
Yeah.
I've had a lot of offers saying, oh, why don't you come and do this? You know, you could be earning loads of money. You know, open
I mean, really.
retreats
So,
and
what do you
and
mean?
this.
Do you mean people individual on an individual basis, like ask you to come visit them? How's that worked? Do you mean like
No,
sick people?
some people have given me ideas. Basically, they've said, "Oh, I can see you do this job, and you know, oh, you've got a talent. You should be opening retreats. You could get people come in and pay in and come in and staying with you and this and that." And I'd be like,
Mm,
"Yeah, that's cool and all, but I wouldn't feel good inside doing that. You know, I wouldn't feel good inside taking money from vulnerable people, and that's what I feel
Mm,
like
mm,
happened to me a little bit. You know, that's what, like, when my
yeah,
experience with Lauren Lockman, for example, I feel like,
mm,
oh man, I just want to talk to you. I just want to have a chat with you. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, money, 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 money. Oh, you have to pay me this, pay me this. And I'm just like,
yeah,
what? I'm like, you just a man to man. Like, just let's have a chat. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, oh, you have to pay this much per hour, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. I
I'm just,
think he's
I'm
a
just,
great
I'm just,
example of coming from the wrong place. Now he's going to say to people, Laura Lockman as example, he's going to say he does it from a pure place and he really cares about people. But the little things
yeah,
you've told me about him and the things I've observed on Facebook, because I observe people on Facebook, people don't
yeah,
think people think I'm stupid, but I'm actually really good at social dynamics and watching people and what kind of level of consciousness they are. The reason why is because I was at a very low level of consciousness. So as I've risen up, I figured out the social dynamics of people. So I watch, and one of them, Laura Lockman, you know, little things you say to me, it just tells. I've seen of him, show me that he really does care about the money. And there are people like
yeah.
that on Facebook, and it's really sad. And to imply to people like yourself that what you need to pay money to fast. Well, I done 7 days dry fasting recently. I didn't pay no money. I can fast whenever I want to. Thank you very much. It's my body. I'm a creation of God. I am God. We are all God. So why am I going to pay some man? Why do I need to pay some man to tell me what to do? Just because he wants more money
I'll
so
tell
that
you
he can.
why.
And also, mate, another thing with or Peter as well. He is creepy because with the girls thing, man, I've noticed it. He really does. He hires pretty young girls that are vulnerable that look up to him and attract to him because he's a fucking famous fucking idiot. And they'll go out and fly with him, and he'll pay them money and have a nice, pretty secretary, and probably try and sleep with them. And I don't give a shit about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no
Yeah,
ethics to the man. You know, there's no ethics
yeah.
behind him. No
But let's not make
substance.
this. We're not bashing him. You know, I'm not trying to bash him. I'm just putting out a bit of truth. You know, I'm just putting out my experience with dealing with him. You know, and I'm just using him as an example. There's many more. You know, it's not just him. I'm not just pointing the finger at him and saying he's the guy that's fucking
Mm,
everything up, because it's not. You know, there's many. You know, but
yeah,
he's one of the guys that I've had a personal experience with, that I've realized his true intentions. You know, so I'm just using him as an example in this case. You know, I don't want to bash him personally. It's
yeah,
not, you know, it's not a personal attack. You know, it's just me sharing my experience with someone in the health movement that tried to pull the wool over
mm,
my eyes. And this is why, Harry, just to answer your question, why
mm,
people feel like they need to pay someone like him to fast, to do something free, is because people like him put the fear of God inside people like me and you, who are looking for answers, because they'll say, this is a powerful healing process, but if you do it without me, you might die.
mm.
You know,
Ah!
this is the type of shit they'll say. It's true, you know, and
No,
it's the
it's true.
fear tactic. You know, they put the fear
So
of God
true.
inside people,
Yeah.
so they don't dare to step into this level
Bro,
without
can I
the
say something? You
supervision.
touched on something really powerful there. You know, when people come to me about urine therapy, I did the opposite of what you just said, and it's out of love. When someone tells me about urine therapy, asks me questions, I'm really simple, and the truth is, urine therapy is good, whether you take the beginning, the midstream, the end stream. Urine therapy is also good if your diet's garbage, if you're eating too much, even if you're eating meats. That's how I started. All these things. So what I do on purpose is I don't complicate things. Just drink it because it's all good. It's not fear. I don't, because people get caught up in like, oh, there's mold on the top of my urine and my aged urine. I can't drink it. No, that's fear. It's all beautiful. It's even more magical when it's got crap and it looks disgusting. So I don't want to put that fear in people's minds. I never want to put fear. If someone's doing urine therapy and they're scared to drink their pee, I've done this once or twice. If I meet up people, I'll carry on doing it. First thing I do is I drink their pee. I don't particularly enjoy drinking someone else's pee. Don't get me wrong. It freaks me out a little bit, but I pretend that it doesn't for a reason. I want to get rid of the fear. There is no fear. So I'm trying to guide people in a very opposite way. You as well. We're trying to guide people in a conscious way that don't complicate things. Don't make things fearful. All medicine is good for you. All fasting is worthy. If you do 15, 16 hours a day, brilliant. You never fasted before in your life. Well done. Pat yourself on the back. Don't feel bad. Don't feel like you're a wrong person because you can't fast for 24 hours. You just do what you can, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. That, thanks for sharing that.
That's all right. Can I just try ask you a question before we go? I'd like to ask a bit about the herbs because remember last week you said you were going to
Mm.
talk to us a little bit about the herbs. Can you talk about them? Can you talk about benefits, the herbs you're doing as well? Like, which ones do you reckon are the most powerful that you're trying? And...
Yeah, well, we talked about testosterone earlier, and
Mm,
I've felt the need to boost my testosterone. I've had a few symptoms that I relate to lack of testosterone and imbalance in the hormones, which with the lumps, especially in my testicle, and the puffy nipples as well that I've suffered with, throughout my teenage life, and even still to this day, a little bit, but not as much. So I feel
mm.
like since hitting puberty, my testosterone has not been where it should be, sort of thing. I've not had that boost of testosterone that I felt I should have. Anyway, so all so I've been looking for herbal supplements and things that naturally boost testosterone. And one that I've tried um, has proven to me that it does that, or at least
Wait, can I guess? Can
balances.
I guess, bro? Can I guess, bro? Let
Go
me
ahead.
guess. Is it ashwagandha? Ashwagandha?
Ashwagandha, no, no, it's not ashwagandha, but that is one of them. That's a more recent one that I've come across.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
but the first one that I came across was ginseng.
Oh yeah. Mm, mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
ginseng. Yeah, it's gives you a real boost of energy, and
Mm,
also like you just feel more calm, more like in control. More like balanced and grounded. That's what it gives me.
Can I say something real quickly? I read something about ginseng recently. I don't know if you know, but apparently there's no nutrition, there's no vitamins or minerals in ginseng. And I was reading a Chinese book and Taoist. I was reading a Taoist book recently. They reckon if there's no vitamins and minerals in ginseng, the only reason why ginseng works, and I know it does because of what you're saying and other people, is because of the life force energy, the chi. There's something in the ginseng that's not. How crazy is that? Vitamins and
Wow.
minerals is a myth to me, bro. It's a fucking myth. There's no vitamins and minerals in ginseng, but it works. What's going on?
Mm.
It's crazy.
Yeah. There's something. I mean, there's no vitamins and minerals that we can detect. That's what I think we should be saying. Maybe there's components in there that we're not calling vitamins and minerals that are actually beneficial to the body. Such as things that are in our urine at the same time as well. And I feel like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
when we're doing herbs, we should be doing urine at the same time because then we're recycling. What we're putting the herbs in the body, we're getting the
Yeah.
beneficial hormones or what the compounds that the herbs are giving us, and then we're recycling it by looping the urine as well, or putting urine on topically or whatever, dropping it
That's
in the eye
powerful. So so that's a
underneath
really
the
good
tongue.
idea. Just for people to say, if you're doing herbs, you should do some urine. You're doing urotherapy, do both.
Yeah,
Make sure
man,
you take the
because you're
urotherapy
wasting your
after.
money. Otherwise, you're wasting your money. You just peeing it down the drain. If not, you get the most out of it if you loop it.
Yeah.
So yeah, ginseng is my number one herb, and I've currently found red ginseng, which I've never tried before, which is a more gives you heat within the body, builds that fire within the body, and I feel like that's another thing that I've suffered with, especially living in England. The lack of heat in my body. I've always felt cold, and my circulation has always been quite poor, and with the red ginseng, I feel like the fire inside my belly is burning strong, and fat is melting away from my body, so I'm not storing fat as much.
Wow, with
So
that
that
one
means
herb, you reckon that one herb's enough to break fat?
ginseng,
You're noticing differences?
yeah, red
What?
red ginseng, yeah, red ginseng. This is
Wow.
this is the one. I'm going to show it you. Let me go downstairs. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen the red one before. I'll go
I've
down and
I've
show
not
you
heard different ones. No. So yeah.
because I get the whole herbs. So you can see what it looks like. I don't get it
Sweet.
in powdered form. It's the middle of the night here. Well, not middle of the night. It's like 10 o'clock, something like that.
Damn.
Right. So where is it? I'll just put you down 1 second.
Yeah, man.
Here she is. Bye-bye.
Point the camera a little bit. I can't see. There we go. Oh wow. So is
See
that
how
a
it's
ginger? The
red?
root. that the root of the herb? Is
This
that
is
how it
ginseng.
root?
Yeah,
Ginseng. Wow.
because and they say it looks like a man, or it looks like a person when the strands are stretched out, and it's
It's
got
like a
two
prawn,
arms
a
and
big
two
massive
legs.
prawn, mate, a big shrimp or something.
It's what?
Looks like a shrimp or a prawn, a big one. Looks
Nah,
funny.
it's it looks like it, doesn't it? Because it's red. Usually ginseng is white, the ones that we see, but this one is red. Let me get a better lighting.
Mm. And red's more
Yeah, you see.
powerful than white, is what you're saying. You reckon red's more
Well,
powerful than the
it's
white
just
one?
different. It's not. I feel like it's more powerful for my symptoms, but it's just a different effect. White is more like an energy boost. This is more like a igniting the fire within your body.
Wow.
So
Cool.
I feel like this has really helped me. This one, and I use it in teas. I'll chop it up because it's dried. It's a dried root, but you can see it's still a little bit soft as well at the same time. You know, so it's not fully hard and dry. So I can chop it up and I put it in a soup. And I've got burdock root in here.
Burdock fruit, love that. Cleans the blood. Is that?
Yeah.
I know it cleans the blood. What else does it do? It's quite powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, burdock root is nice. You know, what else have I got? Dandelion root.
Oh,
Dandelion
yes,
root
sir.
in this one. I just put them in used jars. This is a coconut jar, but it's not coconut. It's dandelion root dried, and I'll put that in tea as well. That's quite a strong flavour. You can get that in UK. You should dig these up. Dandelion is
Oh, yeah,
everywhere in England, you know.
yeah, man.
Schisandra
Yeah,
berry. This is another powerful one. Powerful. Look into Schisandra berry. It's
I've not heard of
is
Sandra.
five flavour berry, and it's used for like antioxidants, anti-aging, and things like that. I've also got this is a reishi mushroom that I powdered. I picked it wild from a place we were working. I dried it and then powdered it in my blender, and I used the reishi mushroom. I just put it in boiling water, and then it
Sweet,
makes
bro.
the tea there as well.
Reishi mushroom tea. People talk about that. I think all the mushrooms are powerful. Chaga, reishi, lion's mane. All of these mushrooms are
Yeah.
medicinal.
Talking of
Right?
lion's mane, I've got lion's mane here. This is lion's mane mushroom.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But it doesn't taste too good. It's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit funny taste, so I don't really use it that much. So yeah. What the other herbs that I were going to say? Pine pollen.
Pine
You
pollen.
heard of pine
Okay.
pollen?
Is that the bee thing? No, is that pine tree? I don't know, I'm guessing. That sounds stupid, but I don't know what pine pollen is. Is that from a pine tree? Pine.
Pine pollen.
Okay. Huh.
Pine
What is
pollen.
pine
It comes
pollen?
from the
Is
pine.
that? Go on.
It comes from the pine tree, and
Yeah.
it's the basically it's the male seed from the pine tree, and it pollinates the female flower, and it's got natural testosterone in there because it's the male.
Huh.
Yeah, and it's so powerful
Wow.
for testosterone. Look it up, pine pollen.
Yeah.
If you want more testosterone, you need to
Yeah.
use this pine pollen.
Wow. That's good information. I'll fucking
There's-
try some. Try some. Huh.
Yeah, man, get some. There's studies on this, and it says that basically they can't account for the amount of testosterone that it produces in the human body compared to the amount of testosterone that's actually in the herb itself. It exceeds it. So basically, what they're saying is it's got testosterone in there from the pine tree itself. We know the pine tree is sacred anyway. You know, turpentine comes from the pine tree. You know, the pine cone comes from the pine tree. The name pineal gland is named after the pine tree. You know, we know this tree is sacred anyway. The pollen comes from the pine tree. It's got testosterone in there, but what it does, it allows the body to produce its own testosterone as well. You know, it ups the production, the natural production within our body. So it's a double whammy. You know, and then when you're looping it in your urine as well.
Triple whammy of lupin.
Triple whammy, yeah. So yeah, these are a few herbs that have really perked me up, you know, and they've really got me. They've got my head straight again, you know. I felt like I were not rebuilding after fasting properly, you know. We're just going into fast after fast after fast, you know, and I weren't really rebuilding. You know, but I feel like now I've had a chance to rebuild a little bit, and I'm gaining back my strength, you know, and I'm gaining back my mental clarity, which is a big deal for me, you know. Like without that mental clarity, you know, I can easily go off the path, you know. And sometimes to get that mental clarity back, I have to shut the door on a few things. You know, I have to shut out a few things that I thought I should have hold on to, like, you know, a few of these toxic people, you know, that I followed for a long time. I have to, you know, sweep them to one side, and I have to focus back in on my journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. You know, we talked about fasting stuff. Quickly, I just want to say one thing. Thinking about your 11 days, you guys, you didn't know you did 11 days hard dry fast. You've
Right.
done many shorter ones,
Hard
7 days
drive.
and water ones. Now, you probably going to agree with this. What's your take on the, you might not agree. I think you would, because you're pretty understandable on this. Like, the longer you can go, it's on my mind, the longer you can go and fast, that means the more healthy you are. I mean, the longer you can go into any fast of any long period without having any detox, without suffering too much, it's an indicator of how healthy you are. So if you're getting symptoms of a dry fast 16 hours in, a headache, you're probably not that healthy. If you can't go 2 3 days without in a hard dry fast, you're probably not healthy. And that's been on my mind a lot, because of my 7 day recently. I didn't actually see it at the time, but actually I am fucking healthy, you know. I really am, and I could have gone longer.
Yeah.
And you've done 11 days, and I don't know if you could have gone longer, but obviously that's quite a
No,
long
that was my
time.
limit. That was my
That was your
limit at that
limit.
time.
Your limit.
Yeah, at
Okay.
that time, that was my limit. But Harry, I want to say this to you, yeah?
Mm.
Depends on when you do the fast. It depends on how long you can go. So, just for example, I don't know, if you did a fast today, maybe you'd go 7 days, and then you'd be like, oh, I don't feel like I can go any longer. And it's not because you're less healthy than you was before. It's just
Mm.
because of the time period, and your body is going through a different stage. So maybe
Huh.
that 7 day fast stirred up
Mm.
a few things inside your body, and now later on those things are just coming to the surface. So if you fast again, those things are gonna come into your bloodstream, or wherever they go to get rid of, you know, quicker than they did on your previous fast. So what I'm saying
Yeah.
is, if you it's not always this way, but I'm saying it could be. You know what I mean? Because I've had
No, I get what
times
you're
where
saying. That makes
yeah,
sense
I've
to
had
me,
times
bro.
where I've fasted for like 10 days, and then tried doing it again and be like, oh shit, you know, this is too much. You know, I need to back down. And
Yeah.
it's not just because it's not just wet and dry. I don't feel like it's just wet and dry. Like, or
Yeah.
the longer you can fast, the healthier you are.
Mm.
I mean, overall it is, but I think
Mm.
it's timing as well. It depends on timing, you know, and
No,
what where
I
you.
love the nuance of what you just said, bro. That's very true. So overall, it is, but actually, there's, and also it correlates with what you said before about when you were doing detox before. You're honestly on it 24/7. What you were finding was that there was more poisons coming out. So you got rid of one set of poisons, and you were happy for a second, and then you went back into another deep layer of toxicity of detox, and that made you feel really down because there was so many layers going on. And I think you are an example of someone that's got. I mean, we all have many layers, but I think you take your level of layers is a little bit more than even me and other people. If I'm being honest, that's how I perceive it. I might be wrong
Right.
from what you're saying. So
So
yeah,
many, so many layers. Yeah. Like I said, like I told you before, I've been, you know, not only did I live a toxic lifestyle, like most other people who come to this lifestyle, you know, because they've lived toxic before, they feel like they need to do something to change. You know, they hit rock bottom and come back. But you know, the type of toxins that I put my body through, you know,
mm,
the accumulation as well. I'm talking about the pesticide, the Roundup that I talked about last time. You know, I worked
yeah,
with that shit for like 6 months. You know, for me 6 months per year for maybe 3 years on the trot. You know, so I'm covered in Roundup from head to toe. You know, for 6 months of the year for 3 years on the trot. You know, and this stuff is accumulative, so it doesn't rid itself from your body. So after the third year, I'm still carrying the other 2 years worth of glyphosate in my body, you know, somewhere locked up, probably in these hardened lymph nodes that I've got, you know, probably locked up within those, you know, and that's probably why they won't break down, because if they break down and release what's in there, this is my thinking anyway. I feel like if they break down and release what's in there, then it's going to be too much of a toxic shock to my body, and maybe I won't be able to handle it, you know, and things might go downhill pretty fast. So I feel like the body's got an intelligence, and it knows when to release, you know, and when not to release, you know. So I feel like we need to break and build, break and build. The building part is just as important as the breaking part, because if we don't build, then the body will. This is what I feel like anyway. I'm just talking from what I feel like. I feel
Yeah,
like the
tell me.
body won't release as
Mm,
much into, to release because because at the time, if we're not built up properly, we're not
mm,
strong enough to resist the detox symptoms. If you get what I mean.
mm. Yep. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
with
so
you. Yeah, yeah.
it's not just the glyphosate and the drugs that I used to take and the alcohol, also the
Mm.
medical trials that I used to go on. This is
Yeah,
what
I
I
was going to
talked
say
about
that.
last
Yeah, I
time.
remember you saying last time.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I used to
Mm.
put myself through these 2 3 week medical trials where I take an experimental drug. Like we'll all sit down in bed. Crazy man, crazy man. I get paid well, fair enough, but my kidneys and my liver are all taking a hit from these pharmaceutical drugs. And on top of that, I'm taking painkillers outside of these trials. I'm taking, antibiotics when I used to get ear infections regular. Every time I swam in the sea, every time I swam in the swimming pool, I'd get an ear
Mm.
infection. So painful. I'd be taking antibiotics. Often I'd get injections into my bum, penicillin and things like that. I'd come back off a holiday and I'd been bitten by a mosquito. They thought I had malaria one time. I had injections in my bum. All these things I feel like have impacted my health along my journey. And it's not until now I can look back and think, what happened to me? What happened? Like, why did it go wrong so quickly? You know what I mean? So, but it's
You've been
about
woken up, bro.
rewinding
You've
that.
been woken up deliberately,
Yeah,
I think. I feel like you've been woken up deliberately to help other people on your mission. And everybody helps because everyone's doing their bit. Everyone's got a good heart and all that cheesy stuff. But some people are meant for more. That's how I feel your journey is. You're meant for you're gonna have higher impact, is what I'm trying to say. You're gonna be an example for many people and you're gonna help in your life and you've done it already and you're doing it now and it's gonna be much more, I feel, in the future. You're gonna help more people. That's your role. To be a leader that a lot of people look up to in this new generation of people waking up. Right?
you know what I've been waiting for, mate? I've been waiting for that breakthrough in my journey. I've been waiting for those lumps to melt away so I can come onto here and say, I've got some great news. I've been dreaming about this day for such a long time, so I can come on social media and speak to everyone that I've been speaking to and say, I've got some great news. These lumps have melted away. I'm free of that symptoms. All these ailments that I suffered with when I first started this journey have disappeared. I've been dreaming about that video for so long, and I
Yeah.
feel like I've got nothing to say until that happens. So I feel like now I'm just going within myself, and I'm just taking a
Yeah.
break from all that, and I'm
Yeah.
just putting it behind me and just focusing on myself because I feel like right now is the time where I need to, you know, get to that place for me to move forward in my journey. I need to get to that place where
And you will. You know that as well. You know in your heart because you've got the warrior spirit and the warrior knowledge and the warrior action. Those three. I just made that up on the spot. Warrior spirit, action, and thoughts and mindset. If you've got all those three and doing what you're doing, there's no doubt you're going to make to that point, man. And I feel like you're just recharging right now and you're going to come back strong and help people like you've always been doing. And that's your destiny, bro. That's how I feel.
yeah, definitely. How about you, Harry? What's your plans?
So my plans for this year is carry on doing what I'm doing on Facebook, but also I want to be making money. I want to be making some money so I don't have to go do a slave job again. I do not want to be a slave and spending time not doing what I love. That's the problem with slave job mentality. It's I can earn money from it, but I can't do what I love. So my entire year is going to be based on money, not from the point of view of making loads. I'm not interested in making loads of money. I am interested in making a high impact and carrying on helping people from diseases, but more in the real world, bro, not just on Facebook. I mean, I want to meet up with people, but I also want to help people from sickness and severe sickness in the real world because I've got the knowledge and I've got the discipline. I just need to really. I want the reference experiences of healing people so that I can say in my heart that I've done. I've been to someone's houses and I've saved their lives. Not because of it's not even ego, bro. It's about that's my gift. I want to give my gift to people. My gift is my knowledge and my health and my discipline. So I want to give that I want to try. So this year's all going to be about that, going up, meeting people, going out and making a bit of money and carrying on. Maybe my own business as well. I've got my own business in my mind as well. So a lot of things, mate. Yeah.
I see you're writing a book. You put your book out on Facebook the
Books
other day,
coming
right?
as well. Yeah, that's going to be one of many. But I think aged urine is more like I look at it as not money making. It's more like it needs to be out there. Aged urine is more powerful than fresh. So I feel like no one's talking about it enough. Monica has, but not many people are talking about drinking it, bro. Drinking it. So this is the book. That's the main stick of the book. Just drinking aged urine. So it's like yeah, I want to be an example. I want to be the first one really as
Well, yeah,
well.
how
It's
to?
like getting
Is it like
mm.
how to do it, or what is it about? What's the?
It's both how to do it, and also the info science behind it. You know, the oxygen, the alkaline, the electric charge, the fact that oxygen is the healer medicine, and that's why aged urine works. It's just oxygen, really high oxygen. You know,
Yeah,
the stem cell proliferation.
yeah.
Yeah,
Stem cell. That's a big one for me. That was one of the main reasons why that was the tipping point for me, realizing that stem cells are in our urine, and that I'd been looking into stem cell regeneration for my teeth, because
yep,
I got a lost one in my teeth when I was younger in an accident. So that was a tipping point for me. I was like, where else am I going to get stem cells for free? You know, where else are they produced? You know, for free. I'm talking about these therapies, these stem cell therapies costing thousands of pounds. You know, and only celebrities are being able to afford them. You know,
yep,
there's a beauty treatment now called vampire facial. I'm not sure if you've heard about it. They basically
no,
use this injection pen to make small
mm,
incisions all over your face. So
mm,
and it makes like tiny incisions, and then
mm,
they extract some of your blood. They spin it
mm,
in one of them centrifugal things, and
mm,
they separate the plasma from the
mm,
blood. They use the plasma to put
mm,
onto your face where it's open wounds where they've put the injection pen, and then
mm,
it's called a vampire facial because you're bleeding, and then they put the
mm.
plasma onto your face. We know the plasma is urine.
It's urine.
You know, if you see a test tube of blood, you'll see
Yeah,
the red blood cells go to the bottom and the plasma rises to the top. The plasma is yellow. You know, that's the urine. But
yeah,
what urine is ultra filtered plasma because it's filtered through the kidneys, you know, and into the bladder, you know. So it's from the blood, filtered through the kidneys, and then put into the bladder, you know. So urine is a step above, you know, blood plasma. So and they're
yeah.
using blood plasma, and this therapy costs thousands, man. Costs us thousands, and people are, you know,
So
and
that's
this
that's
we
what
can get
happens when
this
you're
for
brainwashed.
free.
You don't understand urine therapy. Jesus Christ, you waste so much money
Free.
on silly little things when, like you said, God created the medicine, created the medicine for you to
Yeah,
use. Even fresh is good. Fresh urine's
this is
great,
what
by
I'm
the way.
saying. But
It's all good.
if people knew that it was urine, I'm sure they'd turn a nose up at it. You know, they'd be like, no, I'm not having that. But because it's blood plasma, oh yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, let's go for it. You know, but it's because we've been indoctrinated to
Oh,
think that urine is a waste product. You know, because it comes out of us. You know, so it's automatically it must be a waste product. You know, so but
yeah,
the people who actually experiment with it, who actually have got the experience with it, know otherwise.
true, bro. Okay, bro. Let's sum up with any final thoughts you want to leave us with before we go. Anything like you're excited about or anything, any message you want to get across to people in this video? Go ahead, man.
Uh, Nothing really, mate. I think we've covered most of it. You know, I don't want to keep rambling on about the same things. So yeah, I feel like this year, um, I'm
Yep.
just taking it as it comes. Right now, I
Yes.
feel like I'm just rebuilding. I just want to focus in on myself. You know, I don't have much time for social media, other than, you know, directly chatting with you and whoever else wants to do this sort of thing. I'm open to that, you know. But I just can't be bothered with the YouTube uploads. You know, I can't be bothered with the tagging and the titling and the uploading and, you
Mm,
know, just the answering comments and things like that. But I gladly, you know, one thing that has always annoyed me is typing long comments out back to people and then just ignoring everything I say and just
yeah.
repeating the same thing over and over again. You know, so I'd much rather talk to somebody, you know, like this. I feel like, although I do find it difficult to get out my words, you know, because before I said, you know, there is a disconnect in my voice to my brain, sort of thing, you know, due to the heavy lifestyle that I've lived, you know, the party lifestyle as a youngster, you know, I've been hit in the head many times, you know, I've suffered concussion, you know, I've been knocked unconscious, you know, I've been in fights, I've been hit with baseball bats around the head, you know, I've had my head stamped on, you know, in fights, and all
Shit.
these things take a big impact, you know, like, so it's about recovery. It's about recovery now. So, and I want to
Mm,
say as well to anybody who feels
mm,
like they need to go back to eating dead animals after being
mm,
a vegan,
mm,
reconsider. There's other options. Look at herbs. Herbs, man, will take, you know, everyone says they've tried everything, but I'm
mm.
sure most of these guys who are suffering with low libido, low testosterone, have not tried pine pollen, you know, and they've not tried other herbs, you know, like red ginseng. They've not tried these herbs, you know, so at least exhaust those options before you go back to what made you sick in the first place.
That is great advice. Yeah, don't give up. Don't think that the meat is the way. On that note, bro, I'd just like to thank you very much for doing this with me today. And also, I'd like to give you a little message. I feel like our futures might be intertwined. I've been thinking about you a lot lately since the last conversation, actually. And I think how much we've had similar experiences and how much I'm struggling as well. So don't think I'm not struggling as well. I keep a lot of it to myself. But I feel like some point in the future we might be doing something together, bro. Whether that be free, making money. I'm not about making money for the sake of a lot, but I just feel like I've got you in my mind. That's what I'm saying. So as I come up, I'm going to keep you in mind and maybe come and see you at some point as well. And thank you very much for doing all you do, bro. And look forward to coming you back on YouTube. And in the meantime, just keep going, man. You're fucking amazing. So yeah,
Respect, brother. And same to you as well. You know, everything that you said, back to you, man. Back to you.
I appreciate it.
Full
Thanks, guys,
respect
for
for you.
watching. And thank you, Sean. Thank you, everyone, today. I love you all.
Good
Okay.
night.
Cheers, guys. See you, mate.